Radio Biafra International, empowering the people. Radio Biafra International, empowering the people.
Stop spending time with the wrong people. Life is too short to spend time with people who suck the happiness out of you. If someone wants you in their life, they'll make room for you. You shouldn't have to fight for a spot. Never ever insist yourself to someone who continuously overlooks your worth. And remember, it's not the people that stand by your side when you're at your best, but the ones who stand beside you when you're at your worst, that are your true friends. Stop trying to be someone you're not. One of the greatest challenges in life is being yourself in a world that's trying to make you like everyone else. Someone will always be prettier. Someone will always be smarter. Someone will always be younger. But they will never be you. Don't change so people will like you. Be yourself, and the right people will love the real you. Stop trying to hold on to the past. You cannot start the next chapter of your life if you keep rereading the last one. Stop being scared to make a mistake. Doing something and getting it wrong is at least 10 times more productive than doing nothing. Every success has a trail of failures behind it, and every failure is leading towards success. You end up regretting the things you did not do far more than the things you did. Stop getting involved in relationships for the wrong reasons. Relationships must be chosen wisely. It is better to be alone than to be in bad company. There's no need to rush. If something is meant to be, it will happen at the right time, with the right person, and for the best reason. Stop rejecting new relationships just because old ones didn't work. In life, you'll realize that there's a purpose for everyone you meet. Some will test you, some will use you, and some will teach you. But most importantly, some will bring out the best in you. Stop trying to compensate against things that are not there. And stop trying to compete against everyone else. Don't worry about what others are doing better than you. Concentrate on beating your own records every day. Success is a battle between you and yourself only. I just have to repeat this. This warrants a repeat. Stop trying to compete against everyone else. Don't worry about what others are doing better than you. Concentrate on beating your own records every day. Success is a battle between you and yourself only. Life is too short to spend time with people who suck the happiness out of you. If someone wants you in their life, they'll make room for you. You shouldn't have to fight for a spot. Never, ever insist yourself to someone who continuously overlooks your worth. And remember, it's not the people that stand by your side when you're at your best, but the ones who stand beside you when you're at your worst, that are your true friends.
Radio Biafra International, empowering the people.
Good morning, everyone. Good day too. Good afternoon. Good evening, wherever you are all over the world. This is Radio Biafra International, brought to you by the Biafran Restoration Movement. You can get us through different platforms, such as the internet, Facebook, YouTube, RBI app, TuneIn app. We're on satellite. You can actually Google Radio Biafra International and get the rest of the information that you need regarding this broadcast platform. My name is Odi Moalu, and today we have a very important broadcast of what is going on, and I will be joined by a plethora of very brilliant and very knowledgeable panelists They are usually they are not strange panelists at all. These are panelists you're very familiar with. They will join in analyzing, in dissecting the issues of the day. As I said before, my name is Odimo Alu, and I'm your broadcast anchor today. We inform, we educate, and we persuade. So please join and listening, because these are very important issues that affect our lives. Information is important. Education is important. That is why we go to school. It's when we are informed, then we are better equipped to know how to handle issues of life. As usual, before we get started, we will pray. We say a prayer or two. Because as I said, we are a people of God, and we are not going to deny it at all. We are proud of it. We are Israelites, and today we will start with a prayer. This is a prayer of praise and also petition and request and thanks to our God. As you well know, Biafrans have been through a lot. People who at one time, there was a plot in which it involved virtually the rest of Nigeria and world powers, even opposing world powers. The British and the Russians, the Arab nations, they all ganged up together and did everything they could to wipe us out of the face of the earth. But I tell you, the God of Israel said, no, it will not happen. That is why we're here today. And we give him all thanks and honor and praise. For him alone shall deliver us. So praise be to the Lord, the God of Israel, because he has come to his people and redeemed them. He has raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David. As he said through his holy prophets of long ago, salvation from our enemies and from the hand of all who hate us, to show mercy to our ancestors and to remember his holy covenant, the oath he swore to our father Abraham, to rescue us from the hand of our enemies and to enable us to serve him without fear and in holiness and righteousness before him all our days, to give his people the knowledge of salvation through the forgiveness of their sins, because of the tender mercy of our God, by which the rising sun will come to us from heaven, to shine on those living in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide our feet into the path of peace. In the name of Yeshua HaMashiach, amen. That was pulled from Luke chapter 1, verse 68 to 79. Okay, this morning, we all know what is going on in Nigeria, the most populated country of Africa. There is almost like a nationwide protest. It's not nationwide really, but mainly in the southern part of Nigeria. And it is End SARS. SARS spells S-A-R-S. SARS stands for SARS is actually an arm of the police. Is special, it means special anti-robbery force. SARS is an arm of the police force, and the acronym means Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS. And we have a protests that had locked down so many cities in the southern part of Nigeria. And the protests are also going on in the capital city because of the demand, mainly led by the youth. It's a demand that this particular squad, which has been very brutal, which has symbolized the violation of their human rights to a very grievous level, must be shut down. And also they're calling for police reform. I will just touch some headlines here so we can understand exactly what is going on. Not the details as much, but the headlines, those that are very important, because we all know that there is a protest, massive protest. If you are not, if you're in any part of the world, I may say you're not a Nigerian, but you are interested, you can easily even go to YouTube and you see it yourself. So you can go to news and affairs regarding Nigeria and you see the details which are there. Okay. On October 15th, we have #EndSARS. We need comprehensive police reform. This is the PDP secretary, Uche Secundo saying, and this is Thursday, October 15th. That's the representing national leadership of the People Democratic Party, called for Buhari to, as a matter of urgency, carry out a comprehensive police reform, and not only the scrapping of the notorious Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad. So I think the full acronym is FSARS, because there's federal there. And it's usually known as SARS, Special Anti-Robbery Squad. And also we have in Vanguard that the army wants subversive elements to desist from anti-democratic acts. EndSARS protests rock Lagos, Osogbo, Ilorin, Abuja. This was on October the 13th, reported by Vanguard newspapers. Commuters spend hours in gridlock as protesters shut down Lagos. Sanwo-Olu, the governor, sues for calm. CSO petitions US, UK, EU to place visa ban on Oyo Police, Commissioner of Police. Davido, Nigerian celebrity, meets IGP over police brutality against civilians. So disbanding SARS, first step to extensive police reform, says Buhari, orders investigation into Oyo killing. This is some of the headlines you see. It's like there's a lot of them. There are multiple headlines on SARS. Everybody's making a comment, saying one thing or the other. But let me also read about what the northern governors have said. Okay, this is the vice president. He says SARS will be replaced with something acceptable. There's another protester shot dead in Surulere. Soldiers brutalized newsmen. The process. Then northern governors want SARS to continue. So he said northern governors want SARS. And that, let me share with you some of that information so that you can at least have a little bit of background. But this is a perspective from the northern governors. So very important. Everybody knows that Nigeria is a country where the government, the apparatus of governance has all been seized. It has been hijacked by the Islamic northern oligarchy. Most of them previous military leaders or politicians and traditional rulers. They work hand in hand, you know, to ensure that they seize the government. And why do they seize the government? They seize the government to push down further, to use it as an instrument of jihad against the Christian South. And it seems the pressure is being felt. But let us see why the northern governors are opposing the scrapping of SARS. It's already been scrapped by the government, because of the persistent protests, which is now in its 6th day, I believe. And it's gone international. Even celebrities in the United States have been able to add to it. I think the Twitter CEO has also tweeted to support the movement. There are other Nigerian youths abroad who are also using their financial power to support this movement is going on. So first of all, we from RBI encourage, salute those who are demonstrating for their rights, because that's what it is. Human rights is not respected in Nigeria at all. And it's a culture, the source of that problem is Islam. Islam does not respect human rights. And we see it because of those who are on the government. They are avowed Islamists and jihadists. And the president, who is a patron of a terrorist organization, you know that that president is certainly a terrorist. And this is what, and then people are expecting something better. And this is why we have these problems persisting. So we commend those who are demonstrating. They have the courage to come out and to demonstrate. And that is what we have been saying here in RBI, that there is no other way other than to confront the problem. We will confront the problem rather than dodge or think that we can sneak around it, because to sneak around it means that it will continue. The only alternative is that the oppression will simply continue until it ravages everywhere, or we stand up to it. The Bible says, resist the devil and he will flee from you. And that devil, as we know now, is the Nigerian government. He said he's very devilish, honestly, because if he wasn't devilish, he wouldn't have cost millions of lives in Nigeria. And then we have the backing of the British government, which it has created and blessed this disparate groups of people together, cage them up as Nigeria so that they keep on. And that is what the same thing you see happening all over Africa. That is why they don't have development, because they want that instability to continue internally so that they can work with the weaker ones who will oppress the other ones, and they give them access to the resources of Africa. And that is the suffering of our people over time. So we're going to that little analysis there, I believe, is important, so we can have a good background of what is going on, because Nigeria is a colonial creation, and if we don't understand this background, we may not fully understand what is happening. And for those who are listeners all over the world who do not understand the affairs in Nigeria very well. Now, it says here, Northern Governors want SARS. Lalong, Chairman, Northern Governors Forum and Governor of Plateau State, Simon Lalong, has said the most governors from the regions were not in support of the recent disbandment of Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, a unit of the Nigerian police, saying that it has been useful in the fight against insecurity in the region. Governor Lalong also alleged that some of the protesters in some states were hired from outside to embark on the exercise, and that was not needed. So that he said that what is actually needed is reform of the unit to enable it to discharge its functions optimally, not wholesale disbandment. The governor, who stated this in Abuja in a chat with State House correspondents after meeting behind closed doors with President Muhammadu Buhari at the presidential villa, Abuja, considered that there were divisions in the country concerning the continued existence of the unit. He noted that even though the president has already approved the scrapping of SARS, the northern states do not believe that the baby should be thrown away with the bathwater, adding that SARS was not made up of bad elements alone, as it also included personnel who were doing their work diligently. He also threatened to arrest any traditional rulers in the state, shielding criminals in his domain. According to him, we had a meeting yesterday, Wednesday, the Nigerian Governors Forum. I'm sure my chairman addressed the press. When we see issues like this, the complaints vary from one state to the other. In one aspect, some people said they don't want SARS. Some said they want SARS, but a reformed SARS. They want a reformed SARS because, as far as they are concerned, some of these SARS operatives help them in addressing insecurity. If there are bad ones holistically, bring them together and reform them. Then you work for them. So our opinion and conclusion of that stage was that let us not just say that we are throwing away the baby with the bathwater. If there are good ones, you don't chase them away. So as SARS is banned, we are now looking forward to, because most of the states in the north said no. They want SARS because SARS helps them. Borno State Governor said without SARS, he would not have been surviving today. Niger also wants SARS. If you are addressing this issue of SARS, you need to know what is wrong in some places. Is it the process of recruitment? Is it the character of the people? You can't say because somebody is wrong, everybody is wrong in the country. These are some of the issues we concluded yesterday. And it's for the chairman to go and meet Mr. President to still look at this issue holistically and critically so that we understand where we are going. On the whole, we all agree that there must be general reform within the police, but you can't do general reform without proper funding. You must address the issues of proper funding so that they don't say government is responsible for lack of funding and we attack them for non-performance of their duties. So Governor Lalong said he met with President Buhari to update him on the happenings in Plateau, adding, for instance, when we had the challenge of insecurity all over the north, we called for community policing. And this is part of the news. And another news is on Adamu. Excuse me. Adamu Garba threatens to sue Twitter CEO. This is a news on October the 15th. Says the CEO of IPI Solutions Nigeria Limited and 2009 APC presidential aspirant Adamu Garba Thursday threatened to sue Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey for supporting the EndSARS protest. Adamu, in a tweet, said if the protest continues to evolve into disorder, explained that Jack's tweet calling for support against disbanded SARS was a needless interference, and that endorsing a link for donation to the movement was capable of pushing the situation beyond Nigeria's overstretched security management. And that was Adamu Garba there. There was the governors calling for to convene a meeting of the stakeholders, but SARS has been eventually forced to be scrapped. The IG said that they were going to scrap it and start SWAT, and that they will simply reform it and move some of the officials in SARS to SWAT. And this will be simply to redress the monster, And the question, there are questions here. Is SARS the problem of Nigeria? What is the problem? Is it SARS? If it's reformed, would Nigeria now function? Because it refuses to function, actually. And, what is the solution to this problem? The youths have suffered so much in a country where unemployment is very high. Poverty is the highest in the world. Nigeria has become the #1 poverty capital. of the world. It's also the #1 terrorist nation in the world. It has so many, groups of terrorists. They're almost like up to 8, 9, 10, and it seems they are multiplying, and there is terrible violence going on, particularly in the north. The violence has always come from the north, and it's come from always from the Islamic north. And as I always believe, this is a reflection of the values of these people, and it's a reflection of their belief, their religious and political ideology, which is in Islam. But I will bring in my panelists today to make salient comments regarding this. This is something that everybody knows is going on. So to freely contribute, you have something to say regarding this movement. It is large. It has been able to shake the country, definitely. This is something we believe should have happened like 30 years ago. But so far, it is also good. Whenever you wake up, they say in Igbo, it becomes your morning. So I hope the Nigerian youth have woken up, and this is their morning. And the Nigerians, the adults as well, not just the youth. This is something that everybody needs to be involved in, because the economic dwindling is affecting everybody. And why won't it dwindle when Fulani illiterates have taken over the government to manage, and they insisted they must have Nigeria simply for the purposes of exploiting the resources of the South, and then oppressing them, and then conquering them in the name of Islamic and Islamic expansionism. I bring Mazi Ejiofor Chinanwata to open up the discourse on this. Excuse me, right there. To open up the discourse on this regarding SARS, after which I'll bring Chukwusi Kedigwe and Oziomeme to give us their commentaries. Mazi Ejiofor Chinanwata, if I can be connected to him, I will be glad. If I can't connect with him right now, I will try.
Yeah, I am on.
Okay. Oh, I can able to get him.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, my brother Odimo. I hope you are having a swell weekend. What has befallen Nigerians and the Biafrans in particular is one of those things that one questions every day, every time, as how did this happen? And SARS is actually, like they say, a tip of the iceberg. It's not really the crux of the matter. The matter is the reason, and the matter is that Fulanis throughout Africa, no country in Africa have allowed the Fulani political space. Only in Nigeria. It is only Nigeria. Even Guinea. Guinea is having an election next Sunday. Tomorrow. Guinea is having an election tomorrow. And they vowed never to allow Fulani any political space. A tiny little country like Guinea made that stand, and they stood with that. And their reason is what? Fulani is not part of our people. They came. They are visitors to our land. You go to Mali. Mali refused to allow Fulani any political space. You go to Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso refused to Fulani. Only Sankara. Sankara, nobody knows that Sankara was a Fulani, but Sankara came with good intentions. because I like the guy and I like his policies. And he came speaking very well, like Muhammadu Buhari, who is currently ruling Nigeria. They always come with good intentions. But after Sankara, Burkina Faso people said, no, we are not going to allow Fulani any political space. Now, the Central African Republic, we know what happened because a Fulani man overthrew a legitimate government like Buhari. And the people rose up and chased the Fulani out of their government and chased the Fulani people out of town. And now they have vowed never to allow Fulani to rule them again. So it is, you go to every African country and they have actually woken up to realize that the problem of the people is within the people. Now, Nigeria has given Fulani not only economic space, but political space, and allowed the Fulani to control them this far. End SARS will not be where it ends. That is basically scratching the surface. The northern governors, as you have read, have came out and said, we want SARS. Now, I said this because this is the time when you know who is who. The middle belt has been making all this noise and maybe talking that they are basically going to align with the South. They are not going to align with the North. I want to know, where does the middle belt governors stand in this matter? Because in Kabumbido, if they say that the oil in Bayelsa belongs to Jigawa, if they say that the gold and diamond in Zamfara State belongs to Zamfara, but then again, the oil in River State and Bayelsa belongs to Kano and Kaduna and Sokoto, then it is a question Nigerians have to ask themselves: who appointed Fulanis to lord it over everybody else? As my friends in Guinea spoke, they are visitors to our land and we are not going to allow them to rule. The question is, will Nigeria continue to allow Fulanese political space? Because SARS is an instrument of terror designed and implemented by Fulanese to terrorize the southern part of Nigeria. Hana there with so many angles, Hana there with so many plans, Hana, they come with the spaghetti kind of plan. They throw it and hope that some will stick. So our people are dazzled and fizzled. They have no idea what is going on. Sooner or later, that many days, the thief can actually go on and they steal many days for the thief, but one single day for the owner. Maybe the youth of Nigeria has actually woken up to the situation to say, you know what? We cannot allow this to continue. Maybe. But I know what's going to happen. We believe that Nigeria, having no knowledge of diplomacy or no knowledge or no tact whatsoever, will unleash what they know best, and that violence. That is why you have the army speaking in the tone they are speaking. I have no idea who invited the army in this. But they have a gun, and because of that, they have used that gun to terrorize the people all these years. And they believe it has worked all these years. For 50, 60 years, it has worked. So there's I have no doubt that the army eventually will come to kill people and slaughter people. Because northern Nigeria, especially the Fulani extraction, believe that Nigeria belongs to them. Thank you, my brother Odimogalo. Thank you. And Chinawata is standing by.
Thank you so much, Mazi Chinawata, for that analysis. Always good to hear your voice and to get your analysis on these issues. You all heard him. This is very, very important, and his analysis has depth of exactly, because what we're doing here is diagnosis of what the problem is. Is the problem just SARS, or the problem is with Nigeria itself? I would like to invite Chuksi Kedigwe to please speak on this current issue. Mazi Chuksi Kedigwe.
Okay, good day. Good day, fellow Biafrans. Yeah, my able host, Mazodia, thank you. I thank all the panelists. I thank our esteemed listeners, everybody for listening. I'm just coming out. I must confess, I'm just coming out for one of the protests. The one we are holding in our Jegule here is massive, massive protest. I don't even know how we came about. No movement, because the area was taking all over the routes and people are not acting. You see that young people are shutting down places. Though we are suffering it, but we are happy about it. And we are speaking and they are beginning to listen, because their mentality cannot be allowed to continue. These are killing of innocent people, labeling innocent people because they are doing well, criminals and what have you, and murdering them for nothing cannot be allowed to continue. And that's why I support this movement, because it's going to change everything. Do not even worry about the Biafran struggle, because at the end of the day, after fighting the whole thing that connects, so we are going to go down to our own tent. It's going to be to your own tent, so we are going to fight things that concern us as Biafrans. But now we are doing it collectively as an umbrella, so that we're able to stop this killing. We mustn't forget, we mustn't lose sight on the this thing that our people, the Biafrans, have been massive victim of the killings by SARS. The SARS, of course, has been the most notorious of all the SARS formations in this country. While their killing were happening, most of the political rulers, they turned blind eyes to these killings. Even the governors of the state at the time were destroying houses and buildings of people just on mere suspicion, just on mere accusation, without even investigating. In fact, they supported those massive killings in our land. And that's why we must not only stop SARS, we must also ask all these governors to account for how they shut their eyes to these killings. It happened over and over. People were complaining. They looked the other way. They emboldened the killers. And the killer will definitely tell you that he will kill you and nothing will happen. And exactly, they were right. They've been killing and nothing was happening. Because of it, it emboldened them to keep killing. So that's why we must stop these killings. There must be a reform before this thing will stop. Nobody's going to stop right now. And I like the spirit the youth are bringing now. We must fight this abnormality. I've been a victim of brutality for so long that within this thing, you'll be getting my story of how I've been a victim. So many people have been a victim. And it could be anybody. It could be anybody. Yes, it could be anybody, because the police will not really care. Because they will tell it to you that I will kill you and nothing will happen. And because nothing happens, they actually embolden them. And when you complain, everybody just look at you and why are you complaining? So this must stop. And this is the first time this is happening, this massive, these things. And the greatest thing about these protests are there's nobody leading. And that's why I keep saying it, that in RBI, we've been able to build a very good example of how protests should be, or how leadership, or how a group should be. Nobody is a lord here in RBI, in BRM. Nobody is a lord. Every other person can do one thing or the other to keep this struggle moving. In the north, they try to protest against insecurity. What happened? They were able, the Nigerian government were able to pick out the leaders of those movements. And what happened? The protest couldn't go ahead, because by the time you take the leader, maybe most of the followers don't know what to happen. And that's one of the things that happened that occurred in the struggle for Biafra in terms of during the time of Uwazurike and Nnamdi Kanu. By the time you pick these people up, every other person was now looking for release our leader. Instead of marching forward, we started asking for a leader. And that is the biggest mistake some Biafrans are doing right now. By the time they come to BRN, we ask them, who is our leader? Who is our leader? We bypass that mentality of leadership. In Igbo land, in our place, where the kind of system we practice is not system based on single person's leadership. No, we do not. We've been able to build a system of government where power do not rest in one person, where everybody can do a team of leadership. A team of leaders does this so that even if one person is taking it out, everything continues. We mustn't make that mistake as we move forward. We must learn from this struggle, as in this movement. We must learn it. Thank God people like BRM started it before, and Nigerians copied us. This copied us, that we must not base this on single leadership or even this kind of leadership that we are practicing. That if one person is taking, if one person is taking, does not affect anything. And people like Ambassador were able to also they used it. By the time that by the time their leader was taken, their former interim president was taken, it never affected them. It never affected them. They were able to continue whatever they're doing. We must embark this in. He has really paid up. He's doing very well. And Nigerian government cannot shake who to bribe now, because there's no arrowhead that can be targeted. It's one thing we must learn. We must take advantage of this. Thank God for BRM for having that vision and starting it. Thank God for Nigeria copying it. Thank God for others who now learn that these people are right. I've always said we were right. We'll continue to be right in our aspirations. We might not be too noise making like others, okay? But BRM is going places. RBI is going places because we are solid. We took our time to strategize and we're getting it right. But one thing we've learned in this struggle for NSAS, Nigerian police, is that the people can speak and the government will listen. As far as they do not aim to build this thing on somebody so that the person is arrested, everything can move ahead. We must learn from that. SARS must stop. Everybody who is a victim must ensure, not just stopping SARS, but we must ensure that everybody who was a victim of SARS brutality, police brutality, military brutality, army brutality, or whatever forces brutality they were, have justice, that justice is done to them. And Biafrans have actually been big time victims of it. We must make sure that we do not fight them today. Anybody who was responsible for murdering of Biafrans, just as those that murdered under SARS are now hearing it hot, it's a promise to them, and I'm making it today, that a day is coming where they will definitely pay. There will be a call to account for the murders that they supervised. Likewise, all the political leaders in Biafra land that look the other way where those killings are happening, they will definitely be called to account for why they looked the other way, pretended nothing was happening. Now, people were massacred in war. They thought nothing will ever happen. That it will continue to be business as usual. It will never be business as usual every other time. One thing, the people are winning this time around. Biafra will definitely, a day for reckoning for Biafra will come. We've built a solid foundation. We've gotten it right. We always get it right here, and that's one important thing. Thank God people are now copying us. Thank God they are learning from us. And NSAS is here. We are not stopping. We are not backing down. We had a candlelight vigil in Lekki Toll Gate yesterday. Yeah, no, there's no movement. We held that place down. Today we are continuing all over. I'm just coming from one of those protests, like I just said. More of them are holding all over here too. So we are not stopping until there's a proper reform. There's justice for the victims. And when this one ends, we'll look down to those are murdered Biafra. At the end of the day, to be a collective justice for all of us. So nobody should back down now. Thank you.
Thank you, Chooks Ikedi, for that analysis. It's good that we are getting a report from somebody who is right there on the ground, who is protesting who's involved in this in the NSAS protests right there in Nigeria, and you can hear from him clearly what is going on, and that people are fed up with a government hijacked by the Islamic northern oligarchs, and the government hijacked for the purposes of conquest for the rest of Nigeria. That is why you have all the fighting going on in Nigeria, right from since 1945. And like I said, Nigeria is a British creation. Was cobbled up by the British for their own economic interest. It was not for the interest of the people. And when it was cobbled up, the people were not consulted. The people never consented to it. That is why the creation is a violation of the people's rights. It's a violation of the people's sovereignty, the people's right to rule themselves or choose their ruler or how they are ruled. It is a violation. Nigeria itself is a violation of that natural right. And until we correct what is actually going on there, it's going to be a problem. And I love when Chooks mentioned the issue of no leadership. They've been looking for the leader of this movement so they can arrest him or bribe him. That is what Nigerian government does. These people are very studied in evil, in how to perpetrate corruption, in how to perpetrate. Hence, you have the problem of killings. They set up organs to just kill people. The police does that all the time. Extort money from road users from every day, from morning until night. Even in midnight, they are still extorting money from people. The economy is so tanked up, and it's tanked up that way deliberately because the northern leaders do not want to do what is necessary to free that country economically. That's why they don't want seaports in the south, the southeast area. They want seaports in Lagos. The one in Lagos jam-packed completely. They don't know what to do about it. They're now talking about, we have a seaport in Onitsha and so on and so forth. We will see as matters go on, because what happens is that usually they'll put up something to confuse people. Now the river has not been dredged. They said they're using boats, flat boats or whatever, to bring merchandise in and so on and so forth. How long does that go? How well is it going? Sometimes the fees for you to clear your goods are too high, so that they make sure that they milk you dry. There are all kinds of strategies, conspiracy theories, conspiracy plots going on, and it is initiated by northern leaders, and to ensure that the economy gets strangulated, and so that the people can be weak, because it's when you're weak they can conquer you. Part of the economic undermining your economic well-being is all in the strategy of Islamization and Fulanization. That is why they will hire more people from the north, Islamic Northerners, to a very astonishingly outrageous levels. More from there than other parts of Nigeria, like we see in the DSS, where they are supposed to hire 148 from the whole 36 states. They ended up hiring 530 something people, and just like maybe 80% of them came from the north. Can you imagine? Mr. Bichi, who has the DSS himself from Kano State, hired 71 people directly into the organization. This is a security organization. The Directorate of State Security or Department of State Security. And you can see that this is something the Northerners, Islamic Northerners, have done right from independence, from Tafawa Balewa and Ahmadu Bello, and I'm going to speak on that as we go on. But we want to hear from Oziomeme, our sister, on the demonstrations that is going on, and we encourage the demonstrators. Their demands have already enlarged from not just SARS, not just to end SARS, but to end their suffering, because it's not just SARS, this is a problem. SARS is like a symptom, of the problem. The problem lies in the creation, formation, and the function of that country that is called Nigeria. It is an unjust creation. It is not supposed to be there. And then one way or the other, things must change, because I don't see how it is possible for these Islamic Northerners to succeed in basically forcing just how many of them, like almost 70, 80 million, 90 million people, almost probably up to 100 million. If you have to count all this, if you count all the Christians in the north, the middle belt and north, to force them into Islamic enslavement. And I use that word because that's exactly where that problem is, and that's why we call it. So, Sisters, if I can be contacted,
yes,
yes. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Lovers of freedom, God's people, lovers of equity and justice, welcome to Radio Biafra International. This is the news about ending SARS is refreshing. It's so refreshing. We've been talking about people rising up and claiming their rights. And finally, the step one is here. This is only the beginning. And we know that when you have a symptom, you go from one symptom to the other until you get to the bottom of the problem. So we need to keep moving forward as a group of people, as all Nigerians are now united in ending SARS. They should move forward to end the tyranny, the oligarchy of the North, the Fulani rulership, the Fulani governance. They are not part of whatever the concoction British people put together. They are foreigners in the Hausa area and the Nigeria and the Eastern Nigeria area and all the other parts of Nigeria. They are foreigners. Why are we allowing them to put our lives in danger every single day? I'm glad this is going on. I commend everyone on ground that's doing this. Chooks, Ikedigwe, thank you. The report you gave is refreshing. And like he said, I'm going to emphasize on that Biafrans should stop looking for a leader. You are each a leader. God made you a king when he created you. What is wrong with your head? You are a leader and you are a king of your household. Stand up to what you know you need to do. Stand up and protect your place. This is the beginning. We need to keep moving forward until we get to the bottom of the problem, which is sweeping out the Fulanis out of the area of Nigeria. And if the northern people want it, then let them be with them over there. They have no reason to cross our borderline. We don't want them and we don't need them, and we really do not have any plans of having them in our midst. We are God's people and they are not. We have two divergent opinions about everything in life. We serve God. We don't serve people. And that becomes our priority. And when you step on our toes about serving our God, then you are really in big trouble. Everyone that's created by God, he made you a king of your household. So stop looking for leadership. You are the leader. Stand up to it. Stand up to leadership. That's what you're supposed to be, and be that. You can't be looking for leader. You have a group of leaders. That's what you do. You don't need one person to lead a whole group of people. That's why God gave people different handprints, because he put something special in every person he created. And all of that is needed to make the country go forward. So Biafrans, quit looking for a leader. Let us all work as a unit, as a group. Everybody bring their ideas and let us go. This is the beginning. Ending SARS is the beginning. And I'm glad that the point that they have to pay for every person they killed in the eastern region. I'm glad to hear that that is on the platform too. For every person that the police and the armed forces killed in all of the South area, in all of the Middle Belt, everywhere they killed people, they have to pay. If we have to freeze all their millions and billions of dollars account they remove from Nigeria and in other countries, then that's what we do, and bring that money to rehabilitate the people they killed in order to take that money. So, I may not be specific to what I'm saying, but I'm being general here. But there need to be reparation. There need to be people rehabilitated from the mess that they have caused. This is the beginning, and we cannot go back. Once a river starts flowing, it doesn't flow back. It keeps moving forward until that momentum hits the maximum point to boil over. And that's what we need in Biafra land, so that we can get Biafra. And so that every person in Nigeria, so-called Nigeria area, will be independent of all these stupid mentality the Fulanis are putting on us. People who didn't go to school and they're ruling you because what? Come on, y'all. Wake up. Let us all go. We've started marching and we'll keep marching until Biafra is here. Thank you all. And this is Ozia Maime from Los Angeles, California. I stand by.
Thank you so much, my sister Ozia Maime, for that encouragement. Biafrans and all those who are lovers of freedom, who love freedom. You've heard it. Coordinate your actions. It's very, very important. And just understand, because when we understand what exactly is happening, then we can do better to act in unison with some form of agreement. So this is good. For listeners, when we talk about the North and people who didn't go to school, understand that this is not an insult. We are not insulting anybody. We're just, school is where you gather knowledge. These people are knowledgeable. We don't hate Fulani people for being Fulani. No. We hate them because of what they're doing. Because their bodies, their minds, their spirit is what is causing this suffering. They kill, they steal, they destroy, like the devil himself. And, know where the problem is coming from. So that is what we hate. What embodies their being is terrible. We need that to end so that people can be free. And they have no shame, as you have seen the slaughter going on in all over that Nigeria over the years. And Fulani is behind it. What are we talking about over the years? It looks like when I'm thinking over it, you think it's just 40 years. No, they started from 1804 when they came in there and began to slaughter leaders of different indigenous groups in the north, and then impose emirates on them. And now they were talking about imposing emirates down south. Them and the Kanuri, who are leading the Boko Haram. And then from the northeast, then Fulani based from the northwest. This is the problem of Africa. This is something that when Africans understand, they begin to fight it. When you fight it, because, let me tell you, the colonists are using them to enforce their neo-colonial plots and conspiracies. They enforce their own neo-colonial plans, which is what? It's mainly advancing to stealing, killing, and destroying. Resources have to be stolen. We're not against people taking resources, but please, can you do that properly? That's what we're saying. Like we have oil. Why do you have to steal oil? And in order to steal oil, you have to support one group and kill another group. This is what happens in slavery. They use the tactics of slavery. So when you hear about foreign policy and all the rest of that, look, forget it. this is what the foreign policy is made with. Central strategy of the so-called foreign policy. This is what they study in school, so-called Ivy League schools. Study foreign how to, take over a place and that is, and then exploit the resources of the land all over the world, and brings a lot of unsettlement. That's why I've said that Western Europeans, not the Eastern Europeans, the Western Europeans have been the source of global instability for the past 500 years. You cannot enslave Africans after cutting them out in millions, and you still cannot let them be. The British is behind this, what is going on in Nigeria. They know that. That is why they are not out to solve the problem. They're out to keep their deceptions, acting like they're supporting the protests, but they are the ones who are supporting Fulani being there. This idea of visa ban, it makes me sick to the bone. Visa ban. Oh, I will. If you don't conduct the election, you will be banned from coming to Britain. I don't blame you, Britain, that my resources built. That's why you're telling me if I don't people conduct the election. It's the resources of Africa that built the West. We have to understand that. Enough of all these lies. When telling me, oh, if you don't know, it's visa ban. Well, how is that the solution to the problem? Visa ban. You rig the election then and then stay there. You have to allow that country to break up. There is no point in forcing people to be together so that their lives are miserable, and you have your Britain very well built from the resources from Africa, and then we are the ones struggling to get visa to come over there. And this is what Nigerians and Africans need to understand. If you continue to have this type of mindset, there is no way we can be free as a people. We're talking about visa ban. That's an insult. We need the problem solved. The problem cannot be solved by visa banning. The problem solved by you obeying the wish of the people who own the land. And those who don't want to belong to that union can break up and go their way. That's the way to stop the problem. They know that's the way to stop the problem. But they know that if they can both us together fighting each other and using one against the other, just like the supply the arms, contact the government of Harold Wilson, supplied $840 million in 1967 to 1970. That's what the British government supplied. And the British public and population, they need to know this. You have to hold your representatives accountable for what they do regarding their foreign policy. Because the British people don't know these things. And particularly since you're having a new generation coming up, they're ignorant of it. They need to know it. Even if they go to an MPs, they don't know. They must know. And urge them to pay attention to what is going on. Because people need to be free. We're not against the British. We're not against your freedom, but that freedom that you so much enjoy, why can't you allow others to have it? The others deserve it too. We're tired of looking for visa to go to Britain. We don't want that any longer. We just want that country to divide so that people can take decisions of what they want. Those who want to answer Nigeria can answer Nigeria forever as long as they want. And those who don't want it can go. People talk about, oh, that means that we have so many countries in the world. Let there be 1 million countries in the world. This is their right. You did not create them. Why do you want them to force them together and all that? If they want to work together, let them agree on themselves to work together. Organic nations are nations where you have nations that are created by ancestors, they have the same religion, they have the same culture. You get two cultures that are completely different, you jam them up together, and then there's trouble over there. This is what the rules of this political system, which is so artificial, which is not representative of the will of the people. The systems that violate their very rights make a decision for themselves. We have a right to opinion, to say on the right to choose where we want to live. We don't want to be as people. The nations that were existing on their own prior to slavery and colonization. Slavery and colonization are violation of human rights. send the legislation. They have been doing it for the longest time because these are people, Arabs, who intermarry with Africans from the Almoravid Empire as far back as the 10th century AD. These are people, and then from Morocco area, they migrated down into West Africa and refused that nobody will rest because they want to Islamize everybody else. This is what we're challenging people with. That is where the problem lies. So we must pay attention to understand that we need to do better than we're doing in terms of understanding where the root cause of our problem is. SARS is simply another way of creating a group like Hispa. You know, they have the Northern Police, Islamic police in the north. Islamic police. Can you imagine Islamic police? We have Christian police in the south and some other places in the Middle Belt. It's not like Christian police. So these people do not live in a secular government. Yet it's on paper that the government is supposed to be secular. They forged the constitution and started the preamble with we, the clause, we the people, the phrase we the people, when the people never met anywhere to so they forged that constitution is the fault. Like I said, it's an evidence of a terrible crime. A crime against the different peoples of that country. You go and forge a document for them. Forgery is a criminal act. And this happened under President, head of state, the Islamic Brotherhood. And they are the ones that created some of these states that are causing the problem. They created states, gave more to their own areas based on landmass, not on population. They lie, they refuse that you have population states, they refuse that. That is why even the Northerners as they are refusing to subscribe SARS. The same Northerners are refusing that subscribe SARS. The same Northerners refuse any change. The same places where you have poverty so extreme because they refuse to change their value system. And we're saying that value systems are different. Let people go their way. Why must you force them to get it? Since we can't change their mind and they can't change ours, so remain like them, live in poverty, have children without taking care of them, them in the street, right? And that's from people who have planned their families and worked hard, and they refuse to do so, and then they go and ask for those who have worked hard to give them. You put a child out in the plan, he's begging, that's all he does. He grows up, you recruit him as an Islamic state, and go out and kill the so-called kafir. And I keep telling them, when you're telling other people kafir, you don't know how to do it. These people, their thinking is so complicated that you cannot reach an agreement with them. And this is the problem we're having in Nigeria. I will back it up.
Yes, this is not an account. All we want is Biafra people.
All we want is Biafra. All we want is freedom. All we want is Biafra. All we want is freedom. Oh Lord, my God. Oh Lord, my God. We need our freedom. We need justice to reign. We need our freedom. We need justice to reign. Killing and fighting everywhere. We need justice to reign. Justice everywhere. Brothers do not know his brothers anymore. Let us keep our heads together as one. Peace to reign. Oh Lord, my God. All we want is Biafra.
blood and I can't beat. I am here calling you, oh Lord, praying to you, singing to you, oh Yahushua, because they made us slaves in our own land. I can remember once upon a time in the Bible where the Israelites used songs and prayers to let down the wall of Jericho. This is the kind of miracle we need for our freedom. We know you can answer us as you answer Israelite the days of their slavery. They might shoot us, they might kill us. Bloodshed everywhere. Give us Biafra. Give us freedom. Oh Lord, Yahushua, I call upon you.
I know. Oh Lord, I know. All we want is Biafra. All we want is freedom. All we want is Biafra. All we want is freedom.
Oh, what DJ Adamasa 2020. I think I'm feeling before you before we do. Because what is the same? We're about to coronavirus money before they see about living now. What can you just say? I want to know before you before we do.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Okay, we're back, fellow Biafrans and listeners globally. Sorry for that interruption. It was due to communication challenges, which are there always. Hopefully, we'll come to a point where we'll be able to surmount most of them. But I'm glad we're back. As I was talking about colonial issues, the vestiges of colonialism in Nigeria and in Africa. Africa has the greatest amount of resources that is needed by the modern world. Today, China is right there itself to excavate, to exploit every opportunity that it can. Except African leaders understand to look inwards for their solutions. You have young people who go to universities, they study, they come out. Why don't you use them? Why are you always looking for foreign companies and foreign experts to do this and that way? This is the problem we're talking about. And this is what the way people like the Fulanis and all these Islamic people, they don't think that way. And this is the problem. How can you develop Nigeria with that Fulani person there? And once they don't have power, they are fighting, they are killing people when they have power. Once the power seems to be out of them, and power goes to people in the south of Christians out of accident. Go on, it was accident of history. Obasanjo, accident of history. And under Obasanjo, 15,000 people killed because of Islamic riots. Not Christian riots, Islamic riots. Can you imagine that? And this was from Human Rights Watch. Corinne Dofke, I still remember, of the West African department, reported this in the Guardian newspapers. And we have this thing occurring since 1945, even when the British colonies were there. So people who do not believe in democracy, that is why you have Sharia law up north. That is why you have Hizbah. Hizbah is Sharia police functioning in There are 19 states adopted Sharia law in the north. How do you function with that? Sharia is against democracy. Like I always say, Google Sharia law in your phone, wherever you are in the world, so you can understand what you're dealing with. So if they don't believe in democracy, what is going on there? When they're telling us, oh, we have elections, or this is governor, this, you know, these people are not serious. They don't believe in democracy, and that's it. It's as simple as that. It's not going to work with you who has believes in democracy. You don't believe in secularism. That is why, as soon as Buhari went in there, you saw what is happening. They are filling everywhere with Islamic Northerners. Out of 18 security organizations in the country, 17 are headed by Islamic Northerners. And they fill the whole place with their people. Is there still Nigeria after that? Is there still Nigeria? They know that is the reason why, right from 1960, they have been fighting on getting into the army, this, that, and most Nigerians were deceived because they were told it's the Igbo thing, and they joined them to kill the Igbo people. Now, after chasing the Igbo people out, now you have them to deal with. So which one is better for you? The Igbo people were there for 6 months only. For these past 60 years, only 6 months, they couldn't tolerate Igbo for 6 months. And you still have people who are blaming the Igbo. 6 months out of 60 years. That is why you know there's something demonic that is affecting Nigerians. When they cannot look for their problems. They cannot look and see their problems. They keep dodging it. You want to blame the weak? We are not weak people, and we are warning you. If you continue with this type of thinking, those of you who still have this type of knowledge, you will end up in far serious problems that you're already. This was why Jonathan was moved out by some people from the West, including Christian churches, ROCCG, Adeboye, went to form an alliance with Islamic terrorists to remove Jonathan. And what do you have today? That's what you have. When you are basing your judgment on lies, you're basing your judgment on jealousy, on hatred, and things like that. This is where it will land you in. Now we're all in this pit together. Now it's best to dig our way out of it. That is the problem. But we will have to dig our way out of it. Otherwise, you just stay in the pit and die there. No, we are warning those who hold these kinds of ideas. The Igbo was out of because, oh, it's Igbo. Igbo is the problem. And people will say, oh, I shouldn't talk about ethnic. There are ethnicities. Look, nations, the real nations are ethnicities, not this, what do you call it, artificial creations by colonies. They are not real nations. The Yoruba is more of a nation than Nigeria. The Igbo is more of a nation than the Anan. The Gwari, they are more of Nupe, they are nations. The Birom is a nation, not Nigeria. So that's where you come from, because they are the ones who will take decisions on how to relate with themselves. Not, a colonial creation that is so artificial. That's why there's problem. It cannot function. It cannot function. It's supposed to have, it expired actually, in 2014, because in the agreement from that corrupt document with which they created it in 1914, it said that after 100 years it should be dissolved, and the people should come and examine and see if they want to continue or not. So it is actually expired. Nobody wants to talk about it. That's why when you talk about even restructuring, the Islamic North doesn't want to talk about it, because they don't want to lose the advantage of their oppression. They want to oppress you. They want to exploit you. That is all these people want. Nothing else. They cannot reason any other way. You see, that's why we say that value system is different. If it is somebody from your place and you say, oh, you're oppressing somebody, automatically he will react, like a human being. You say, no, we can't do this. It is unfair. Fulani that you're talking about, that's what they do. So they support it. People say, oh, well, the governors are supporting, what do you call it, SARS, to the banning of SARS. No, they are not supporting, they're against it. But you remember, northern governors never condemned even the violation of federal character principle. They are the ones violating it. The politicians from the Islamic North, the Fulani leading the way. When they appointed that 17 out of 18 heads of security organizations and arms and agencies, You know, they never support state policing in terms of restructuring. We know that policing is local. The policing is local. In different parts of the world, it is the people who are there in that locality that can police that locality better than anybody else. But the Fulani refuse because they need the police to use it as an instrument of conquest for those other people. That is why it's brutalizing people. That's why they set up SARS, SARS. And why we're explaining this way so we can understand that the problem is there. There is gross nepotism from the Islamic North. And Fulani is leading the way in that. It's an Islamic Northern culture of hegemony and anti-democratic beliefs system. That is the problem of Nigeria. And that is what they kept enforcing. This is what you see in things like SARS and police. They shoot people, they arrest people, you know, they kill people extrajudicially, you know, and it is a problem. And it's going to continue until Nigeria is solved as the problem that it is. And, you know, I want to also say that while we commend those who are protesting, you know, they had other lists that not just end SARS. They are talking about sack the security chiefs. And I will say sack the president, sack that country. Sack that president and that country. They are criminals. That's what they are. What else is Buhari? A terrorist. Now they have somebody faking in for him. Only in Nigeria would this type of evil happen. There is no country where you have somebody, a president, they have his double there. You know, I have never heard of it since Adam. Only in Nigeria is this type of thing occurring. Only in Nigeria. And this is Fulani. And you expect us to think of these people as people who are civilized? You say, oh, why are we calling them criminals? It's on the news that 80% of the crime in Nigeria is committed by Fulani. It's in the news. They themselves are not denying itself. They opened the borders in the north to bring in their fellow terrorists. Now ISIS and Al-Qaeda are there. They are talking about moving into the south. They are massacring people everywhere, taking their land. Do you see the governors rising against it? Northern governors? Do you see the northern governors ever complaining about the killings of Fulani herdsmen everywhere, left and right and center, as we are speaking? No, they don't complain about that. They don't complain about that. Yet you see him, they're now trying to calm the SARS demonstration down because they've seen that there is, that they are resolute, they're determined. And it's gone international. The international dimension is so good because that is what they cannot handle. That is why somebody is complaining about Twitter CEO. Why should he? Can you imagine that? Talking about this is demonstration is going to get out of hand. Killing people is not out of hand for him. Placing Fulani people to be in command positions of the military is not out of hand for them. The army massacring Biafran demonstrators, innocent people who are simply acting within their rights, within the ambits of the law. You kill them, you murder them en masse. It's not out of hand. It is when they protest it that it becomes out of hand for an Islamic northerner. These people are not civilized people at all. You need to tell them that to their face. You cannot live in a civilized society with these people. And it is very clear. You will have to face it one way or the other. So I'm happy that they're talking about ending SARS, sacking security chiefs, improving security. They're talking about food regulation of oil and gas sector to allow more investment for job creation. Immediate passage of PIB, Petroleum Industrial Bill. This bill, they should have passed a long time. They refused to do so. They are the ones, 83% of the oil blocks in Biafra land and other areas, neighbors of Biafra. They are the ones controlling 83%. Islamic northerners. It is not in their land, though, but they control it. So, when you say they are criminals, you people, somebody says, oh, why should you use the word? Are you crazy? What do you call stealing something else that doesn't belong to you? That should become a criminal. They steal, they kill, they destroy, like their father, the devil. That is what you see going on in that country. And they want us to keep quiet in face of it. You are lucky we are just talking, I'm telling you. Because what we should do is to fire back in a very violent manner, respond to them the way that you have the right to fight for your freedom. This idea of keeping on to tell people that who are oppressed that they cannot fight for their freedom, I'm telling you there's some degree of wickedness to it, because what you're doing is you're weakening them. Fulani has done so smart right from independence to seize the military, because they need that weapon to intimidate all of us, which is what they are doing now, isn't it? It's succeeding. They will arrest the army, arrest and intimidate everybody. Anybody who is not from their own gang, they come up there, they marginalize them. Silent. The rest of the country, they don't promote them. If you're a Christian, no, your promotion is measured. The other ones, Muslims, they will jump ranks for them even. They've been doing it from 1960 till today. So they can control, and the British is behind that devilish creation. They have not condemned it. They're enjoying it because they are cutting oil away without even accounting for it. That's why I'm calling on British citizens to begin to query their MPs on what is going on in Africa. The world is changing fast, and the world is now getting knowledgeable of what exactly is going on. How Africa has been made to become a piñata for the West in particular, in the world. Now China has moved in. We need to change the way we think. We need to be free, a free people, so we can trade with people freely. Trade with us freely. You don't need to exploit us, but you can trade with us freely, and you will grow yourself out of it. These are educated people. They cannot, because of their moral dereliction. They are so morally deficient that they cannot see that your foreign policy with nations can also work in a simple, neat way, in such a way that you don't have to violate those people or exploit them, and you still progress economically. They can't see it. Because it's a legacy of greed, which has been bequeathed over centuries from slavery. You saw what's 12 million, according to the 12 million, 14 million. Let's just use 14 million, even though it's a conservative account. Those who are 12 million are trying to see if they can bring the number down. That's the problem. And you see it in scholarships in different books, But the account is 14 million Africans carted away across the Atlantic Ocean to go and work in plantations to build Europe. They have worked in plantations and worked in, and their descendants have done the same thing to build Europe. And the same Europe that they built, and from Western Europe, not just Europe, Western Europe, and the West and Americas, and that is North and South America, you see them put us up in the media as people who don't know what they're doing. They use the media to manipulate minds all over the world, tell them, look at the same people you exploit them to grow. So this thing needs to change. It's time for the change to occur. It's time for the change to occur. And I'm happy that the youth who are in Nigeria are knowing that now. So they called for food regulation of the oil and gas sector to allow more investments for job creation. Food regulation of the power sector to allow investment capital flow to generate, transmit, and distribute more power and create jobs. Should hands off petroleum pricing to enable free market determination of pricing. These are things that Fulani will not do. Because to do it will mean that if they are freeing people, and then what are they going to do about jihad if they do this? The idea of jihad is to strangulate you economically so that jihad can take place. That's why people talk about using guns to defend themselves because of the insecurity. And they tell you to turn in your own guns. But they never tell the Fulani is mass murdering terrorists everywhere, so-called herdsmen killing people everywhere. They don't tell them to turn in their guns. They know where they are. They work with them, actually. They work with Boko Haram. It slaughtered so many innocent soldiers, in the north, because they send them into ambush, and then they are slaughtered once they are Christians. It is a religious problem. Yes, that's the root cause of it. It says here, they should close our northern borders to stop free entry of Fulani herdsmen and bandits. You got millions of them who are poured in already. These are the people that are recruited in SARS. That's the point. That's why you see them acting that way. They have no manners whatsoever. They act like beasts. Somebody has a laptop, that's a problem. You hit him, you shoot him dead. He has what? You shoot him. He has a cell phone. You shoot him dead. Because that person they put in there may not have seen a cell phone, really, maybe. So, he has to die. He's Yahoo. They accuse him, they level accusations against them and kill them for just this number. And what does the Hisbah do in the north? It's the same thing. That's why I say that SARS is a different form of Hisbah, the Islamic police. In the north, what does Hisbah do? If you have sunglasses, you're in trouble. You have laptop, you're in trouble. You are wearing watch, you're in trouble. You are wearing jeans and you're a woman, you wear trousers or pants, as it's called in America. You have a problem with them. You'll be arrested. You are having a party, maybe a birthday party or something. You come in there, you are in trouble. This is on Islamic. This is Sharia law. So we're asking Nigerians, those who still believe in Nigeria, is this what you want in Nigeria? Because either you accept it and become a fourth-class Muslim, or you will resist it. That is the choice we have here. Either we accept it or we resist it. But why should we become slaves for people based on their ideology? An ideology that you cannot fairly produce to a people to make their choice. It is our right. Choice of religion is our right. This is one of the fundamental human rights. The right to choose which your religious belief, the right to practice it. But you're not supposed to violate other people's rights with it. That's a fact. And the youths we are demanding inclusive government for all tribes and regions of Nigeria with 50% youth in charge of governance. This is what Fulani has done with their nepotistic behavior, blind nepotism. They don't care to. They do it brazenly, brazen nepotism and favoritism in governance. It started with Tafawa Balewa. That's it. And the same thing we're staying here 60 years after so-called independence. We are still having that same problem. So you have them everywhere. They are in the command positions of the security. And what does that tell you? If the Islamic people are in the command positions of these 17, the other one they left, trust me, the next person after the person that's a Christian there will be a Muslim. So that shows you they have a plot, they have a plan. Where is the federal character principle? Where is the federal character principle? They are the ones thinking about quota in the 60s. Oh, the Igbos are thinking about we need quota and federal character. Okay, you put federal quota character. They turn it around. They don't even keep the federal character and quota system. They don't anymore. They just take everything. See, that's what they do. They take everything. They command the military. Why? Because they need the military to conquer you, to conquer everybody there. But God will not allow them to conquer us. I'm telling you, it will not going to happen. Some of the demands also include inclusive government for all tribes and regions of Nigeria with 50% youth in governance, allocate more funds to the education sector, provide better teaching tools, and pay better salaries to end ASU strikes. You're talking about education. These people are anti-education. Remember, the education they want is Islamic education, and that's it. Yeah, because if they have their people to be educated, what will happen is that they will leave even that religion. They will leave it because it will not meet up to their own way of thinking, their advanced way of thinking. That's true. That's true. Excuse me. So, an inclusive government of all tribes and regions, allocate more funds to the education sector, provide better teaching tools, and pay better salaries to end ASU strike. I remember that Jonathan, the previous government, built 250 schools for our Almajiris. Those schools, not one of them is used today. Not one is used. Not one. Because when the terrorism was going on, they said, oh, it is because people are not educated. Okay, you build schools for them, they don't go there. You talk about schools, the school system, where if you have 139 from a different region, you can't get into a particular university. You have two, you can do so because you are from the north. You're the Islamic north. So you have another demand is, excuse me, just give me a moment. To take some more. And it says here, all politicians should replace the minimum wage to attract genuine public servants. I mean, we know about how much politicians earn, even after retirement. It is ridiculous. Just as that changing our academic curriculum to reflect modern reality. Academic curriculum is not changed. These are people who want to remove this curriculum. They want to enforce Islamic education in schools. This was what Buhari said when he came in. Islamic education in schools. Can you imagine? So it becomes a requirement for you to take Islamic education. First of all, bring it in as an option, and they try to enforce. That's how they do. They use all kinds of tricks. They are wickedly childish in the way. Look at how SARS was scrapped. They said, okay, we're scrapping it, we're starting what? Just right there. That is what the commissioner, IG of police. That's why I said they are childish with their wickedness, but they're very wicked. How can you scrap SARS, and right there you say you're starting what? Yeah, simply replace SARS in a different killing machine that has killed so many innocent people. And, at least the whole place with fear, intimidation. That's what they want. That is what they do. They will have to intimidate everybody, right? So that once they notice that you are afraid of them, they use fear as a weapon. That's why terrorism uses fear as a better weapon to advance its cause. Because when you're afraid of somebody, you can't stand up to him. And so, and they can rule over you. They can force you to go to the mosque. We are speaking like this because we know what the problem is, and we don't want to dance around it. There's no point dancing around it after millions of people have died. Not wise. I want to think of other requirements. It says here, it's not like just federalism. State autonomy must be paramount. They don't want the structure. They don't want the structure because they don't want you to have your own security. That's the thing that is bothering them. Because when you have your own people with arms, then you are threatening them using their own arms to threaten you. That is the problem. So that's why they don't want that so-called structure. That's why Nigeria has to disband it. We demand for Nigeria to disband it. We demand the bicameral legislation and adopting the camera. They try different political systems, parliamentary systems, but it's not working because Nigeria foundationally is a problem. Not where you have 19 states running Sharia law and democracy. How do you have the country that's working that anybody who has clearly reform Nigerian police and let every state or region create its own police service. When we talk about SARS, this campaign about SARS, I feel like it's a governor saying, oh, because of the determination of the protesters, they're saying, okay, those who were responsible for extrajudicial killings, torture, and so on and so forth, they should be brought to book. Even though they're not saying immediately, because they want demonstration to end so they can go back to what they're doing again. So those who have committed this, they call for them to be prosecuted, so to say. But the question is, why have these people have never called for the prosecution of Fulani herdsmen who are massacring people everywhere? They have not, even Boko Haram itself, the terrorist group. You can see they are free. They set them free. They arrest them and they call them rehabilitated terrorists. Not only do they set them free, they induct them, they put them back into the security system. These are the people you see in this SARS and so on and so forth. You see them carrying arms. And when you see them, we all know, we're Africans, we know our features now, that we have different features. Even as tribes. Sometimes you notice them when you see them. Yeah. So, return Nigeria to regional governance, and it states here, immediately reform Nigerian police force, let every state or region create its own police service. That is their nightmare, because with that police service, then they cannot conquer you if you have your own gun. That's why America has the Second Amendment. Because people with arms and ammunition are able to intimidate others and hold them under them. That is the problem. They use it to violate other people's rights, intimidate them, hold them. So they say, okay, everybody has a right to carry arms. Simple. So that you don't come and intimidate him and hold him. That's how that idea came up. You understand? Remember, even for the United States, in the United States Revolution in 1776, it was arms with which they resisted King George, who sent in who sent in his troops in 61 ships into America to subdue the rebels, so-called rebels. But these are patriots. Patriots. So stop calling those fighting for their freedom, genuine struggle for their freedom, rebels. They are patriots. Yeah, because people have to be free. Why should somebody else be allowed to just take another? Why? Why should anybody in his right sense of his right senses support another person oppressing somebody else, taking away his freedom? Why? Why should anybody support that? If your mind is correct, to use Nigerian balance, you have a correct mind. And here they're talking about immediate reform of Nigerian police force and let every state or region create its own police service. No more budget for running private affairs of elected and appointed public servants. Enthrone university education as minimum qualification for public office holders at all levels of government. For president, local government, and ward chairpersons. These are things they'll never do. The Fulani will not, because it doesn't serve, and they cannot. It doesn't serve their Islamist agenda. These are people who even the education of their own people, they're not concerned about, because they educate them, they'll be free. They'll be free of their own oppression of them, using them to terrorize other people, raising them as beggars, to use them as simply statistics. That shows you how callous these people are, how wicked these people are. Those young people that are begging on the streets, they suffer from at 9 years, or young people, young girls at 9 years or so on and so. They're slept with them, giving them VVF and on. Those kinds. These are people, terrible people, and these are people you're telling, before somebody holds a public office, he has to have a university degree, at least first degree. He must have some form of university education. They will not allow that, because even they don't let their own self do that. After cutting all the money from Biafra land, oil money, they steal billions of dollars of oil money. Do you see them building schools for their people up north? Maybe you build a mosque. Yeah, it's where you see their donations when it comes to mosque. They donate money for the poor Almajiris to just eat money, to eat food for the day. They never build schools for them, because that's the one that's going to set them free. They don't want that. So, but even though they have stolen money, they go and dump it in different foreign countries and so on and so forth. When they die, they lose the money. The people that are dumping the money know exactly that money is stolen. So they want to steal their own too. So they get them to sign certain documents. They know what they're doing. It's all a big game. And when they die, they settle their children with a little amount and cut the rest away. Of course, you can't talk because you know you stole the money. But that is the type of leaders we've had. You know, this is the type of people, you know, whom all they know, they are smart only in doing evil. When it comes to evil, give it to them. Give it to them. They have an A. But when it comes to doing good, they have anything worse than F. You can give it, because there's never. This is why the country is the way it is, the poverty capital and terrorist capital of the whole world. It is because of the Islamic northern leaders. Look at now, we're talking about scrapping SARS, and the governors in the north are saying no. They are the ones who are implementing the Sharia. They are the ones who are financing all these jihadists. And they are disturbing the natives of the north. Some of them are fighting back. That's why you have violence everywhere. Because people will not stand and simply be killed. You know, you need to support them to fight for their existence. This idea of, oh, people, well, it is a right, self-defense is a right. Don't tell anybody to stand there and be killed. For what? Why? Why should you deceive him to stand there and be killed? And you pretend that you are a Christian. You are not a Christian. You are pretending. Those who are killed, were you able to stop them from killing those that are killed? No. You just don't want trouble. You just don't want problems. This type of, you know, behavior, I see something is disgusting to me, honestly. I'm telling you. It's not that we're not supposed to be wise. Yes, you can be wise. But for you to tell those who are oppressed, who are killed every day, that they should do nothing. You don't lead in it. You don't do anything for them. What right have you to tell them not to rise up and do something for themselves, to free themselves from oppression? I think it's improper in my own thoughts. There's something seriously wrong with that type of thinking. Most countries, like you see in Europe and so on, they had revolutions. Revolutions are people rising up against oppression. They were oppressed terribly. That's why they have their freedom. They're enjoying it today. And some of us go to those countries and enjoy those freedoms without thinking. You think you will be enjoying that freedom where you are without somebody rising up and saying, no, this oppression shouldn't continue. Without it, you will not enjoy that freedom where you are. It's obvious. So let us begin to think about, and truly, I'm a Christian, I'll go to the Bible to show you. The Bible says resist the devil and sin. Sin should not only be couched under somebody committing fornication and adultery. That is sin, certainly. But sin also can be what government oppressing people. It is grave sin. Should be condemned. Should be condemned. So we should broaden that, because God doesn't like it. And in fact, if you read the scriptures, you see where God pronounces punishment on people who oppress others in Isaiah, the book of Isaiah. We will talk about that in another broadcast for Christians, you know, because those who hold some religious belief, a lot of us in our population hold these religious beliefs system. A lot of us are Christians as well, those of them in the South and Middle Belt and so on. And it's important that your belief system does not hold you back from doing what you're supposed to do. That is right. It has to be right. That's all I'm saying. You know, it has to be right. Yes, pray. You need that prayer, because it's God that saves you. This thing that's going on now is going on international. What do you think? It is God that made it possible for it to go international. It's going international. You know, there are so many 1,001 ways God could stop it. But you see that it's using people. That's why people are out there on the streets marching. Do not see that act as being foolish or stupid, simply because they are putting their lives on the line. Then you call yourself, who is sitting back home, a wise person. But when that freedom comes, you'll be the first to jump out and enjoy it and say, yes, we are free now. You enjoy the freedom that other people fought for. People you have no respect for, people you think you're wiser than, you know, people you did not commend for their sacrifice. What does that make you? What does that make you? So it says here, immediately reform Nigerian police force and let every state or region create its own police service. No more budget for running private affairs of the elected and appointed public servant. Enthrone university education, minimum qualifications. Strip ex-governors and all elected and appointed public servants of all benefits after office. They still have benefits. Some of them are paid the same amount they are paid after office. Can you believe that? You know, yet for the rest of the civil servants, it's not done. A lot of them don't get their gratuity. They don't get their pension. You know, these are money that are scammed away in Nigeria. A place where somebody will score 2, he will get into a university, but somebody who 139 in the grading system cannot get in. Can you imagine? Eventually, the person that has 2 becomes the person who is the president, and you expect the best practices. The reason why people get educated is that you need to know something. You're being taught something, and if you're not taught that thing, you're not going to know how to do it. Incidentally, like I talk about Islam and the effect it has on people, all they do is build mosques, and all they do is that Quran they are reading. And that's what they know. So they're seeing the world from that window, from that perspective. The window of Muhammad, slaughter the infidel, kill the infidel, impose Sharia law, 7th century ideology that, in places like Egypt, they are battling on how to amend it seriously. There are countries that are still battling on how to change this thing so that their societies can be better for it. If you don't acknowledge something that cannot work, it's not working. I don't know what else you can acknowledge. What else can you acknowledge? So, increased salaries of our doctors, nurses, teachers, police, military officers, and civil servants. How are these people's salaries going to increase? How are the salaries going to be increased? When I have about 3 more points, after which I will call in our panelists to comment on these things that are raised. It says increased salaries of our doctors, nurses, teachers, and police. The government is 60% of the revenue is being paid used to service debts, foreign debt, and they're still borrowing more. See, that's why they can't pay a lot of oil. They said only 5 states out of 36 is viable, even probably less. The other ones cannot pay their workers. All the workers. That's the point. Talking about pay, and if you don't have them, how do you then? They have a lot of public officers angling on how to embezzle public funds. You add those all up, how do you have enough money to increase salary? There's no money for development, for infrastructure. This is a problem. And it says here, government should hands off ownership and management of businesses at all levels. You see, they don't want to manage churches. So they can control this. That's full of need for you. You read about the Kama law that they made, that they're going to do. Sorry. Give me a minute. The Kama law was to ensure that they control the board of trustees of the churches. They control the churches. Make them accountable to the government. Their funds and so on. So they control them. Very soon it will be that they will appoint Muslims in charge of the board of trustees. That's the way Islamic people think. As I said, they are childishly wicked, but very wicked people. And you see them talking boldly about what they're doing. That's the point. That's another thing that makes you like, is this person actually serious in what? So again, name and shame looters and make criminal offenders and looters face trial in their home state and villages, shame them and their families. The worst looters of Nigerian funds are Islamic northerners. That is why I said 83%. The number 1 crime is the oil. Of the oil. Remember, that's why you have Britain right there. The colonists are there. So they are the ones who did that. They are now you want to name and shame them, and the Fulanis are doing the same. They are the ones who control 83% of the oil. How do you? And this was said by a senator, so you can understand that. Read that. They tell them to name and shame. That's not going to happen. These requests are very good. I love them. They're very good. But we are looking actually into the reality of it coming back. But that's the reality of Nigeria. Shame and shame to doesn't make sense. And the last one is stop foreign medical trees for public servants. Let them be treated here in Nigeria. When last did you hear American president or British prime minister visit Nigeria for a story? Yes, that's very good. So I will call him Mazi Chinawata. We have read a lot of these lists. These lists, are they possible in Nigeria for the people who are requesting that, these to be met? Mazi Chinawata. If I can be connected with him, to come back to him and go to Juicy
Okay, thank you. Thank you once more, Mazodi. The main thing remains that Nigerian government is not even ready to implement any of those conditions. Yeah, they are not ready to implement them. What they are after is to find a way to bribe, arrest, murder, kill, create kind of confusion within the Protestants, twist and use ethnic sentiment, religious sentiment to divide them. That's what they're planning. That's why they've not really come out very well to make pledges to even see how they can act on that. They're still studying this and looking for who to pick up, who to talk to, who they can use to divide the Protestants, and that's exactly what they're working at. And that's one that I think this is that there's no leader. So you don't know who to go to. You don't know who to catch. Already they've started. The APC secretary in Lagos released a press statement saying that it's the PDP that is sponsoring this protest. And that's the funniest thing I've ever had. They are trying to bring this sentiment of politics so that they will divide us. They will divide the Protestants against the leading party and the opposition party. It's not going to work this time around. Most of us are starting to become wiser than them, okay? They can try everything they are doing. They did what we were protesting for Biafra. They called us terrorists. They called us thugs. They called us hooligans. So there's all kinds of manner of adjectives were used on us. And then people saw it from that, this is that simple hooligans. And then it has not come down to the Nigerian aspect. They are beginning to see most of the things we saw, because I spoke to a lot of them today in the protest. They're beginning to see most of the things we saw then. They're also beginning to be called names. And then when this APC man now released that statement saying his opposition that is sponsoring this protest, everybody knew this is a damn lie, because they did it to us when we were protesting. They said it was when we were protesting as Biafran, they said it was PDP. They said it was people that were against Buhari, as if they tried to even make it look as if the protest for Biafra was all about Buhari, as in a Buharism. They didn't even know that when Jonathan was there, the movement started 5 before the election that brought Buhari. But they tried all those kind of mannerism. They tried all those kind of sentiment. They tried to use it to divide us. They hit the wall. This time around, they are implementing it. And then the Nigerians, the youth, they are beginning to see what we saw then, and they are beginning to speak out. This is a game to be finished. We are ready to endure the name calling. We are ready to endure the logo tagging, the ethnic profiling, whatever name you may call it. We are willing to go through all these things, but to ensure that we come out stronger, we ensure that we can have a right to where a police officer doesn't tell that we kill you and nothing will happen. It breaks our heart that a police officer will stop you for no reason, just for carrying your laptop. He stops you, tags whatever it costs, tells you that he will kill you and not, and they will kill you and nothing will happen. All he has to do is to plant a gun and say you are an armed robber, and then the media will start reporting an alleged armed robber. You know, the media actually accused most of this before. They will report an alleged armed robber, and because of it, nobody knows what is really happening again. The name that the reportage actually kills them every other thing. And that's why we are thanking God for the social media, because we can tell the story as it's happening. People can pick it up and tell us exactly it's happening. Trace the story of the person who been called an alleged armed robber and see that the best person who is doing a honest living. It's not going to be as
if I may ask you. Yeah. if I may ask you, do you think that since they always say if I kill you, nothing happens? Do you think it's their bosses that gave them that right? Because do you think they will have the guts to be killing people if their boss didn't give them that sort of
To be frank with you, this is what they teach them in the police college. In the police college, this is what they teach them. They teach them how to kill and cover up their evil deeds. They teach them right there in the police colleges. So they come out prepared. They know it's Nigerian system is very, very corrupt. They teach these youngsters when they're being when they're being recruited how to murder, how to cover it, and nothing will happen. It's because they are taught. I've seen most of them. I've spoken with most new recruits. They tell you what they are being taught. Is what they are being taught that they gives them that boldness that they will do it and nothing will happen. And believe you me, their leaders, their bosses who is in the office will cover up for them. They'll release a press statement immediately that happens to their spokesperson, alleging what the person who has murdered never did. And at the end of that, after the shouting, there won't be any commission of inquiry into it, and that's how it will die. That's so it's a thing that's been happening. Their bosses know what is happening. They don't want to do anything, and they are eating deep into some of them. They believe they can do it. They'll be getting away with it. And that's one thing we are saying that it will never happen. And it's a promise that we are giving them this time around. Especially those are murdered Biafrans in the past were doing nothing. Thank God some of them were captured on the video, so they won't even tell us any reason. I remember the one at National Primary School at Abia State in Aba, where Biafrans who were rallying inside a secluded environment was shot at for no reason. If they were outside, they can say they were disturbing or they were obstructing movement. These guys were doing absolutely nothing. They came there, they shot them, and before we know, they were saying this only as at the time of reckoning is coming. It's never going to be a business as usual. We are piling it up for them. We are calculating evils. We are writing them down. We are noting people who were killed. We saw the faces of those who were responsible for this killing. Today is James Nwafor that's answering for his call. Tomorrow is going to be them, but nobody will get away with them. Anybody that takes a Biafran life, takes a loan, he must pay. No matter who sent you. It is true. We are not going to tell anybody to get away with those things that they murdered. As much as I tell our people to pile low for now, be life conscious, train for self-defense, but we must make sure that anybody who participates in the murder of our people must in glory. Whether they talk them as Nigerians to keep people and get free, it's not going to be business as usual. But one thing is, at the end of the day, at the end of this protest, things would have changed much more. It will never be happening again. And thank God for BRM for showing the world how to do freedom fighting. Don't depend on a personal leadership. Make it a team leadership in which every other person can do something, so that when one is taken, everybody continues. The biggest mistake we did in the past was that we spent more than 2 years, approximately 2 years, fighting for the release of our leader. And then when our so-called leader came out, he started asking of Jubilee, the year of Jubilee, the month of Jubilee, this one of Jubilee. We abandoned the struggle that we came for and began about Jubilee. It's not going to happen again, because we're not depending on one person again in this BRM or RBI. We are going somewhere. At the end of the day, things will never remain the same. But the most important thing is that those who kill our people will definitely pay for it. We are ending SARS. SARS has actually been ended. Even the SWAT they are created now it's dead on arrival. Okay, it's dead on arrival. So at the end of the day, all I'm saying is that self-defense is a right. Okay, self-defense is a right. Biafrans must practice it. We mustn't forget something that happened during the week. Okay, CBN actually confirmed that they were going to pay Zamfara State for gold. They will take gold from them and pay them for their resources. And then our people are not asking, what about the crude oil you've been taking from our land that is not paid? You see, when it happens to us, when it's our resources, it becomes a national these items for everybody, every Jankara, every Tom and Jerry in Nigeria to eat. But when it's about the Northerners, they get paid for resources, and it's no longer a national resources. What kind of stupid mentality is that? These are some of the things we are asking in this protest. It's not about just ending SARS. No, we are asking, we must know what the resources are. If we are doing resources control, let everybody control their resources. But we can't treat our own resources as a national product and then treat the one from the north as a state product where you buy it and you pay them. No, these are some of the things that we are fighting for. And believe me, at the end of the day, at the end of this thing, the Nigerian constitution will be greatly touched because everybody's opening eyes to the tragedy of that constitution. Thank you.
Forgery. Thank you so much, Chuks Dikedigwe. Complete forgery. I want to see if I can get to Jofo Chinawata.
Yes, yes, my brother.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yes.
Yeah, in contract, the key element of a contract binding one party to the next is what you call the element of understanding. That means if I have to have a contract with you and we are going to do something, we have to have what is called meeting of the mind. That element must be there for a contract to be valid. So if you are thinking about A and I'm thinking about B, and we have a contract, that contract is dead on arrival simply because we don't have meeting of the mind. You are thinking of something else, and I'm thinking of something else. Now, for that contract to actually mean something and be enforceable, you must understand that we are talking about A, and I'm talking about A, and both of us are on the same page, and that page binds both of us to what we are going to do. Then there is that meeting of the mind. Then there is an understanding. There is a contract that is enforceable. Contrast it to what we have in the construction called Nigeria, where you have the north, and then you have the south. You have the amalgamation of the north and south, and you have Ahmadu Bello that came out and said that Middle Belt will be an estate, will be a willing tool. That the entire Nigeria will be an estate of their forefathers. And Middle Belt will be a willing tool. The South will be conquered, and the operative word he used was ruthlessly. They are going to use ruthlessly to make sure that the lives of the Southern people are not ever amount to anything. You see, there is no meeting of the mind. So while we are celebrating, we have independence from Britain, and we are jumping upside down like monkeys that have seen a banana. We believe that we are free without knowing that Fulanis are now celebrating that they are now going to be internal colonialists. And because of that, they are going to basically, they were celebrating that Nigeria now becomes the estate of their own father, and now they own Nigeria totally. That is where the problem started. And that is what our people have failed to understand or to appreciate. You see, you were talking about the federal character question, and then the southern part of Nigeria, especially the southeast, were in control. And then because we have empathy, and then we have understanding, because now I say this is our mantra. This is how we believe. So when they raised the issue of federal character, we succumbed, and we did that because we wanted to accommodate their feeling and understanding. Contrast it to what is happening today. Now they are in control, and they are now showing you that not only that you are estate of their grandfather, but federal character is dead. It is now the North, and nothing else but the North. And the North we are talking about is now the so-called Islamic North, the founding states of Nigeria. Nigerian North. People who are beggars, who have absolutely nothing, who believe that what you have in the South belongs to them, that you are a conquered man or you're a conquered territory, that all you have belongs to them. Now, that is the mindset. Like Chooks has rightfully said, EndSARS is not the end of it. EndSARS is just the beginning. EndSARS is not just what it is. Now, there's something everybody has to know. There is one thing very, very particular about this thing that is going on. What is going on now is that, yes, prayer of Nigerians have worked. I am first to say that because for some reason I believed that the prayer without works will mean nothing. You are not going to go anywhere by praying because, as you know, if you are praying and praying and praying, I can guarantee you that the children of Jericho were praying even when the Israelis or the Jews were marching in front of their yard. So now, the prayer of Nigerians has broken the jinx because there is mysticism. The lady that worked for me from Central African Republic called it mysticism. We call it voodoo. We call it witchcraft. We call it bewitching. That the Fulanis bewitched Nigerians and held them spellbound so that whatever they do or whatever they say is what happens in Nigeria. I believe with this single incident that jinx has been broken. The dam has been broken. I think now, we'll forget everybody now that yes, people can rise up and at least ask a question. Whether they obtain the answer they seek is a different matter, a different subject for another day. But today, Nigerian youths are beginning to ask questions. And that means that jinx, the Fulani jinx, the voodoo and witchcraft of the Fulanis, I think, has been broken. The dam has been broken, and it is very difficult now to put Jenny back in the box. It is not going to be possible. Jenny is out of the box. The toothpaste is no longer in the tube. So now, what are the Nigerians going to do with this power now? This newfound power they have seen, this newfound strength. What my brother Nemene usually called the testicular fortitude. Now Nigerian youth has shown that they have that. What are they going to do with that? Because as you are you going to now relent because you are going to be slaughtered? The Nigerian army is going to come and get involved. Are you going to run away? Are you going to build on what you have? Are you going to now ask the people who are in Jigawa that the oil in Bayelsa belongs to Bayelsians and not Jigawa? Are you going to stand on that and defend your honor once in a life? Are you going to actually do something now for your own people? Are you going to just believe that Hausa Fulani has spoken? And if Nigeria spoke, everybody must actually obey, or else the army of Nigeria will come, their police force will come, their security agents will come. Everybody then will run and scatter. And then things will return again to where it was or has always been. Now remember, the contraction called Nigeria is supposed to end in 2013. That is 100 years of the contraction. And that 100 years has expired. It has come and gone. And Nigerians have yet to ask a question. Why are we obeying the so-called fraudulent constitution? Why can't we now, right now, as of this moment, decide that Nigerian constitution is no longer valid in that contract? This is the opportunity. This is the time for people to rise up and basically take that stand, because as in it will be when people are many, when people rise up and demand something, they usually get it. But Obrana Piggy, Obrana Biafrans, Biafrans and all, yes, everybody will be watching. and then looking, and then smiling how the Biafrans are being slaughtered. Yes, we have shown that we can challenge the system. We have educated Nigerians that were resilient, that we cannot succumb to what they are selling. That the bridge they have sold the rest of Nigerians that were not buying it. So basically, Nigerians are, as you know, so if you wake up today, you still wake up on time. Thank you again, my brother, Odimoralo. I am still standing by. I believe that where as in our one with God is with majority. The majority of Nigerians have risen now, and I'm sure that God has hands in it. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Mazi Jeffo Chinawata, for those encouraging words. I believe that I wanted to read something in support of what Mazi Jeffo Chinawata said, which Nigerians has to keep in perspective. This time around, the demonstration should also be foreign. It's Britain. We should demonstrate at every Nigerian embassy to end that conflict. If you want to demonstrate about the Constitution, end the Constitution. Because by ending the Constitution, you end the Constitution. End that conflict. Simple. That is a forgery. You cannot run a country based on a political. That is grossly evil. That is grossly violated. Right? It's not be allowed there. And I want to get back to the quotes. Those who are demonstrating for their freedom and liberation in perspective to understand what the problem of Nigeria is. And he quoted Ahmad Bello here. I want to read that quote again. He said, this nation of Nigeria should be an estate of our great grandfather. It must ruthlessly prevent a change of power. We must ruthlessly prevent a change of power. We use the minorities in the north as willing to, and the south as empowered territory, and never allow them to have control over their future. This is a matter of fact, the Sultan of Pharaoh magazine Wednesday, October 1958. If you unpack this statement, it's important to mind to just read about let's do a little bit of analysis. This nation called Nigeria. Look at how he called it this nation. Like some form of name or place. This nation called Nigeria. For those of you who still think of yourself, this nation should be an estate of our great grandfather. You know what an estate is? You know, we had the Spanish Empire. An estate is like a place where you have an overlord. In the Spanish Empire, they call it called the Comienda. That is somebody, a place where you have an overlord. They call the place also where he lives, the hacienda, where they now have laborers who come and work for them. This encomienda, they call it encomendero. These people have masses of land because they've conquered the people. See that? So they have a massive land they control. They have laborers who work for them there. The land is that's there. That's where they own. They own that land. I'm explaining what a state means. They have laborers who are indigenous of the land, but they don't own the land no more because these people have conquered them, so they own the land. Is it not good that it's doing the rest of Nigeria? So they employ laborers there to work for them. So when Ahmed says this country, there should be an estate of our great grandfather, you understand what Ahmed Bello said. And I think that's what you get the first thing. Of course, you get to make that estate. Because I conquered the house of people. Southerners are scared. There could be other them for that advance their imperialism. Because this is Islamic imperialistic. It's about empire. If you read Quran and read, it's all about, and Muhammad showed example, conquered India. The whole world has been conquered and brought under Islam. So, Uthman Danfodio, Ahmad Bello says that Nigeria should be an estate of their great-grandfather, Uthman Danfodio. And he says, we must ruthlessly prevent a change of power. Ruthlessly, remember what he says here. You know, we're unpacking this sentence. We must ruthlessly. To be ruthless means you use force and show no mercy. That's what you're seeing in their police. That's what you're seeing in their army that have been murdering mass people in mass. That's why you're seeing in SARS that's murdering people in mass. Ruthlessly prevent a change of power. Now we've been crying. You've been crying about. You talked about restructuring. You talked about fairness. Talked about equity, federal character. This that they prevent the change of power. Like I said, those who are Christians that came in power in Nigeria was by accident. Gowon was used because it was after the coup of 1966. he was more senior. There were no Northerners that were actually very senior officers then. Yes. And Britain advised them to use Gowon as a face so that it doesn't look like an Islamic thing. You see? And then Gowon, after a while, was taken over by what is his name? Murtala Mohammed, who died, who was assassinated, I think, a year after he took over in 1975. In February 13th, 1976, he was assassinated. So they used Gowon. Gowon was used, it was a tool of Islamization. Today, you can see that their people are suffering. They are killing their people. If you go to Jos and you see what the Fulani has done to take over that land by force, and the Birom have been fighting, the Birom himself has said that in the past couple of few years, they've lost more than 10,000 people. More than 10,000. Because Fulani is demanding ruthlessly that that land belongs to them. He says, we use the minorities in the north as willing tools. What does it mean when he says we use the minorities in the north as willing tools? This is what you see why Gowon was used, why the middle belt was used, and usually the ratchet of this is anti-Igbo, because Igbo were the first to lead the way in opposing colonial rule. So that it has the problem of this place is Igbo. And they sang it in their ears. Others believe that. The West also joined in singing that tone. And then, before you know it, it was anti-Igbo. And all of them came attacking us in Biafra. You see that? And of course, the British joined. They supplied the arms and ammunition that eventually cost the lives of 3 million people under Harold Wilson. All British people are not bad. In fact, most of them don't know what their governments do. The government policies are for, just like in Nigeria, you are there, but you don't know what is being going on in Abuja. You'll be amazed what goes on when they meet in those rooms and what they discuss. It's not in your interest at all. So he says we use the minorities in the north as willing tools. Willing tools. How do you make the tool willing? You make him willing because you promise him slack. You know, just like this APC, Tinubu, and Buhari alliance. They promised Yoruba this and that and that and that. And what happened? What happened now? What is happening now? They make you a willing tool. After giving them promises, even RCCG is a Pentecostal church, claimed to be a Pentecostal church, Adeboye. He was from his church that the vice president came from, and supposedly a pastor. And they went and formed an alliance with jihadists. It's not just all the Northerners are not this one. This one, they even called him a Mahdi. That is, Mahdi is like a savior, somebody who's coming to save. That's what they call Buhari. They see him as Mahdi. You see that? So his own is that he's the one to drive that conquest. So they went and formed the alliance to use, eventually they used them as willing to. Tinubu, when Jonathan was there, the the Speaker of the House position was mapped out for Akande, the Yoruba person, to take over. Tinubu went and made sure he frustrated it. Why did he frustrate that? He frustrated it because he wants the Yoruba to not see themselves in government, so you can use them later on. Use that they are bad because they'll feel bad about it. When they don't see themselves in governance, in top. If you count the first 4 citizens and they are not there, they feel bad that they've been excluded from power, and then that will sway them over. You can be able to use that to convince them, and he succeeded because eventually Tinubu went and frustrated it. They gave it to Aminu Tambuwal from Sokoto. He became the speaker. So Yoruba looked and said, "We don't have anybody here. Why should we go and support Jonathan?" That's what swayed some of them. It's not all of them that voted against Jonathan. We will say probably about 52% of them. So it swayed them over to Buhari, and they voted him in an APC alliance. That's what you have today. So they used Tinubu as a willing tool. They used the North as a willing tool because all those times they used Gowon to fight Biafra, use all this person to fight Shagaya, all these middle belt military officers and all the rest. They told you it was Biafra, it was the Igbo that's the problem. All you are seeing now is that you're being used. So they use them as willing tools. And the South has conquered territory. Isn't the South conquered territory? They are controlling the oil anyways. Like I said, 83% of the oil blocks are owned by Northerners. Then he said, never allow them to rule or to have control over their future. These people are, just look at this. I must give it to them. This is a masterpiece sort of conspiracy, just that it's evil. But it must be. Look at it. And never allow them to rule or have control over their future. When Gowon was there, it was the Northerners that was detecting. When Obasanjo was there, the Northerners he was scared of them. That is why all this killing, around more than 15,000 people, according to Human Rights Watch, that were killed under him. Not one person was brought under book because it was the Islamic North that was doing it under Obasanjo. Obasanjo was rather going to eliminate political opponents. That's how base and animalistic some of our leaders are. And you think that you're going to have a future with that type of mentality, and they come out and you praise them, you say they are this, they are that, this is Obasanjo. But look at his records. So he said, never allow them to have control over their future. Do you have the control over your future now? No. That's where is all this pressure is coming from. These are people telling you their plan. It's not as if they didn't say that. They're saying it openly and they're doing it. There's another quote that supports this. Before I come to Asisto Chomeme, it says here, the conquest to the sea is now in sight. And this is, first of all, Ahmadu Bello's statement was in 1960 of Parole Magazine. Now, this one is 1964. This is Malambala Garuba in West African Pilot. It says, quote, the conquest to the sea is now in sight. When our God sent Ahmadu Bello said some years ago that our conquest will reach the seashores of Nigeria, some idiots in the South, you see how they regard you in the South? Call you idiots in the South. We are doubting its possibility. But remember what it says, when our God sent Ahmadu Bello, now he's making reference to Ahmadu Bello, whom we just quoted gave his quotes right here, his statement. The conquest to the sea is now in sight. What sea? Where is the sea? They've come from the north, the sea is down south, isn't it? So he said the conquest to the sea is now in sight. We can see the sea. We are moving. This is jihad. When our God sent, Ahmadu Bello is God sent. Ahmadu Bello said some years ago that our conquest to reach the seashores of Nigeria. Some idiots, because Ahmadu Bello said that, you see, he's just saying you what Ahmadu Bello said, that the conquest to reach the seashores. Some idiots themselves were doubting his possibility. And you see, they call us idiots, those idiots in the South. You are doubting his possibility, saying, "Oh, how can it happen? How can the Fulani run over the whole place?" How is it? Some idiots. We are doubting his possibilities. That's how they see us. Today, Have we not reached the sea? And see now he's asking you the question. Have we not reached the sea? How did we reach the sea? And he said, Lagos is reached. He said it himself. Allah, Lagos is reached. The conquest of Yoruba land. Lagos is reached. It remains for Harcourt. It remains east for Harcourt. It must be conquered and taken after December 31st. It must be conquered. They are talking about conquest. They've been saying it on and on. It's not something. Mala, Yoruba, West African pilot, December 30, 1960. Now, what did the North do after that? Let me quote certain quotes from Ben Gulier, who was one of the principal officers involved in January 1966 to stop this northern violation of everything: democracy, human rights, fairness, equity, rule of law, as they are still doing today. So, Ben Gulier, I want to quote something from his book, Nigeria's Five Majors, published 1984. He says here in page 11 of the book, he says, the North was definitely in a hurry to produce army of no doubt, to be even with the South. It was therefore the Northern regional government about short-term strategy from the officer corps of the Nigerian Army. Of the about strategy, one of the Nigerian Army. Anybody in trousers would become an army officer, so long as he was a Northern. Which of our which of them is that still happening today? Look at PSS, Department of State Security. Just, last week we told you what's going on. Look at the Nigerian government, what's happening. Out of 18 security organizations, 17 are Islamic government. So, there's something the officer and the same thing is happening today. So we can understand where the problem is coming. Now, I read further some quotes. It says here, by 1960, shortly after Nigeria, the Prime Minister, Alhaji Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, had directed the principal of King's College Lagos, Mr. P.H. Davis, to provide places annually for all of at least 15 boys from the North, whether or not they pass regular examination. So you see, this is a wonderful local that you must give people whether they pass it or not. This is the North. They don't care about qualification. They don't care about what to say. They don't care about the complaint. They are moving on with their jihad. This is what we're facing in Nigeria. And we have to face it. What do we do? Anybody who, for those of you who keep criticizing, okay, or you don't incite people, you are inciting people, what is your solution? Bring out your solution. Because I want the solution out of this. It's not just those who are protesters, those who are talking about, or those who are educating people about doing that. If your solution is to tell people, they don't stand there or go to mosque, go and build mosque, then we know what we talk about. I don't say no. Nice people are calling us something that's bad. You yourself, what is the solution? Bring your solution. Because we want to. If you have go and go, we will go. I will leave this broadcast right now because I want mind. This quote says, standards of officer prerequisites had therefore dropped drastically. So had those of discipline. Zach Maimalari, you remember Zach Maimalari? Had held the rank of captain in 1960. But before my return from United Kingdom in 1963, he had soared to the rank of brigadier. Remember, in 1960, Zach Maimalari, this is the northerner, I think he's the highest northerner in the army then. He was a captain in 1960. So between in 1963, he said he went for a course before he returned from United Kingdom in 1963. He had soared to the rank of brigadier. You see the north? In 3 years, from captain to brigadier. So in 3 years, okay, let's see the stages with which he rose in 3 years. This is the north for you. They don't care about rules. They are unruly and they don't care. The rules is to be unruly. The rules is as Islam and Muhammad has given them, be unruly. Conquer the city. Do everything anyhow you can, but conquer them. We are not lying about this. That's why we are broadcasting the issues that matter. We're going to the root cause of all these problems in Nigeria. So it says here, he soared to the rank of brigadier within 3 years, from captain to brigadier. In other words, he had risen from captain to temporary/major to substantive major to temporary/lieutenant colonel to substantive colonel, and then brigadier. You see that? All within that short span of time. It was just scandalous. This is what Bullier said. It was just scandalous. As scandalous as concentrating all the most important of Nigeria's military installations and its best institutions in the north. As scandalous as concentrating all the most important of Nigeria's military installations and its best institutions in the north. The British designed it that way. Because to rule a people, you need military power. That's what they fear. If you carry a gun, the other people will fear you. You tell them what to do. If they don't have a gun, they are going to do it. Yeah, or you kill them. Everybody becomes afraid. So that's the game here now. You see what we're saying? So we want everybody to know, because if we all rise together against these people, it will end. Including those abroad. But if you begin to sit, sorry about that. If you begin to sit back and criticize, and become an armchair critic and not do anything, you simply extend your problems. Those abroad, you can't go home. Why? You know why you can't go home. You can't go home because the place is a mess. Who has made this a mess? We are telling you who it is. It's the Fulani, the Islamic jihadist advancement, expansionist campaign that has made that place a mess. If you don't do anything, you will lose your land. It's as simple as that. You will lose it. A lot of people are losing their lands already. They have people in bushes, well armed, ready to start the killing and slaughter. That's all these people do. They do nothing positive. So you don't expect anything positive to come from them. Don't think you're talking to reasonable people. You know, if it's from the Christian time, they said these people are possessed. The Fulani, God saved, they need God's salvation, honestly. Because they're human beings. But they have given their souls to the devil. May God deliver them in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. I tell you. So here, Bullier says it was scandalous as concentrating all the most important Nigerian military installations and its best institutions in the north. They are placed in the north already. Now, if you look at this, let me read another quote from Herbert Ekwekwe. In his book, Biafra Revisited, in page 60, published by African Renaissance Reading, Berkshire, England, in 2007, he says, the quota provision, as should be expected, had opened the military recruitment exercise to serious abuse, some of which had been very embarrassing to the services, as was evident in 1964, when a batch of Nigerian officer cadets, mostly from the north, had to be repatriated from Canada because the military academy there found them academically unfit to pursue their career. Regardless, these cadets were commissioned on arrival in Nigeria. But apart from the incompetence and nepotism, which the quota system encouraged in the military, it also accentuated sectarianism within the officer corps. North officers enjoyed a privileged induction backed up by the political establishment led by Prime Minister Tafawa Balewa from Bauchi State in the northern region. In contrast to their predictably resentful South counterparts who had to work evidently harder to win a commission. So you can see what is going on. The same thing happening today. And for those of you who say Tafawa Balewa was such a fantastic prime minister, that man was busy violating the rules left, right, center. Him and Ahmadu Bello. This is Islamic North for you. This is what you have as a problem there. And we all have it as a problem. And we have to find ways to solve it. That's how you have the Islamic Northern domination. Recently, there was a Justice Ishaq Bello nomination to the ICC, International Criminal Court. Remember, the International Criminal Court is held by an Igbo man, actually. Chile Osuji is the president of the International Criminal Court. But here, a fellow Nigerian comes, they sent Justice Ishaq Bello, where he went there to take exams. And then he boarded last out of 20 people, you know. Let me read you something about this Justice Ishaq Bello. It shows you the character of the North, Islamic North. I know saying North, because, you know, if you look at the Nigerian map, actually, if you divide the map into half, most of the places they call North is not North. It's part of the colonial system to tell you that North Benue is North. Bello is in the south, Plateau State and Southern Kaduna in the south. If you cut that map into half, you see that all those parts are in the south, including Kwara. But they will claim it very fast as North, because the idea is to make the so-called South smaller and make the so-called, and then they give you the name North. Be careful about names. When they call you something and you answer, you say, oh, it is North. Okay, you become North. You see yourself doing everything to satisfy the Islamic North. These are all the political games that were going on, and that's put us in this mess. Let me read something about Justice Ishaq Bello. Bello's nomination. He said it's a poor choice for ICC job. Although Nigeria has a robust procedure for appointing judges into courts of records, this process is often observed in the breach. You see that? This is showing what's going on in judiciary. Merit is often sacrificed for family connection or political patronage. The judiciary is a mess because the North is bringing favoritism and nepotism. That's what they have been doing from 1960. So you know the place is a mess. You're going to court to seek justice. You will not get it because you are facing somebody who's called a justice, a magistrate, or whatever, including their lawyers, who did not pass exams, but they are there anyways. The Supreme, are we talking about? Look at the Supreme Court, the judge, the head judge there at the Supreme Court. You know his qualification in law is Sharia law. Sharia law. Can you believe that? Sharia law. That's why they're trying to impose Sharia everywhere. Speaking at the Nigerian Bar Association's annual general conference, in August, Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari made a case for continuous improvement of the selection process for appointment of the men and women who serve on the bench. You know, they just come out and lie to you. They are liars by nature. So anything they say and you believe it, that's going to be on you. That's why we're telling Nigeria, stop believing all these people. You believe them to your detriment. Even if you're going to do nothing, but don't believe him, because that means that you also, he's had you, has succeeded in deceiving you. Don't fall into that trap. First, we must cast our nets wider in search of judges, especially at the appellate. I'm sorry. I am speaking a little too fast, so I may have to take it slowly. Pardon me. It says, first, we must cast our nets wider in search of judges, especially at the appellate level. Second, we must put in place primarily merit-based selection process, including mandatory tests and interviews for all applicants for judgeships, said the president. You see, he will tell you what you want to hear. Is he qualified? He couldn't present his own certificate. This is somebody who could not present his certificate, school living certificate, but he's telling you about we want to get people who are qualified. One would have expected the president to insist that the net be cast wider and the process be more rigorous to select a qualified candidate for nomination as an international criminal court judge, viewed from both the perspective of the nomination process and suitability. Ishaq Bello is not a good candidate for appointment as a judge of the ICC. Although Bello has considerable years of experience as a high court judge, he is a product of a flawed nomination process, has a poor record of upholding justice. He has a poor record of upholding justice. Listen to that. So what you call justice is not what the Islamic North calls justice. Islam is not the same thing as, your secular beliefs and your Christian beliefs, and they are different. He's a product of the flawed nomination process, has a poor record of upholding justice, and participated in a process that recommended unqualified lawyers for appointment as judges. Unqualified lawyers for the appointment. You can see the same traits in the way the Islamic North comes to government. They just impose themselves there, and Fulani leads the way in this. Hausa people are better. If you can convince Hausa people to behave better when you say the truth, and they will come out better for it. But for the Fulani, no. You're up against, we are all up against something else. A whole different ballgame. Ordinarily, his experience should have put him in good stead for the ICC job. Before he was appointed a judge, he had worked at State Council, Magistrate, and Deputy Chief Registrar of Nigeria's highest court, the Supreme Court. He was appointed judge of the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory in 1997. And Chief Judge in 2015. So you can imagine all the cases this man handled. A man who is a product of a flawed nomination process, has a poor record of upholding justice. So you can imagine how justice has been denied people, how justice has been torn upside down. A lot of people are suffering for it now. These are people who could a free Boko Haram person, if you bring him to court, or Fulani herdsman, and sets him free right there. But you that have done nothing because you're a Christian is seen also as part of the war, against the Christians, seen part of jihad, the war from every angle. As Chief Judge, Bello regularly visits prisons to free those who have spent more years awaiting trial than years they are likely to serve on conviction. What did I tell you? And guess who is going to be freeing? In October 2017, he was appointed chairman of a presidential committee on prison reform and decongestion, now Presidential Committee on Correctional Service Reforms and Decongestion. Since its inauguration, the committee has released over 3,768 individuals from 36 correctional facilities across the country. That is perhaps where the positives end. You're talking about positive 3,767. They are mainly Muslim Northerners. Some of them will be Fulani herdsmen and so on and so. People have killed people and so on. He released all of them and they will put them into the military, into SARS. And you wonder why they kill people. They will kill because that's what they do. They are killers. They are murderers. His handling of the trial of policemen charged with extrajudicial killings of 6 traders in Abuja, in 2005, left a dent in Bello's career as judge. You can't believe it. This is the judge, the Apple 6, where they shot and killed innocent Igbo people. And one of them escaped when they were caught and the police was trying to find a way to even set them free. This is the man that was behind it. He's the one that's going to become a judge at the International Criminal Court. It took him 12 years to conclude the trial. 12 years. The delay was a deliberate ploy to help one of the officers charged with the murder escape justice. You see that? See what I told you? And you call this man a judge? See that? Then his judgment was even more bizarre. At the trial, a witness testified that a senior police officer personally shot at the victims, while also ordering his subordinates to shoot them. In his judgment, Justice Bello convicted the subordinates, can you imagine that? But acquitted the senior officer. You see, what is this man a judge? This man a criminal. That's all he is. You see, when a judge, that's why we are telling you that Nigeria can work. If If you go to court, this is the type of people. There are a lot of them right now in the Supreme Court, in the appeal court level, in the high courts. They're everywhere, even as lawyers, obtaining justice. In his judgment, Justice Bello convicted the subordinates, but acquitted the senior officer. He argued that contradictory witness testimony and unavailability of the senior officer's fingerprints after the arrest made it impossible to establish his culpability. You see that? They frame people, frame things. Many who followed the trial felt that the reasoning was strange. He eventually sentenced 2 junior policemen to death, although there were no fingerprints of 2 either. These 2 policemen sent to them might have been, if you're those who are Christians there, use them to establish justice. The victims' relatives are of the view that Justice Bello deliberately helped the senior police officer escape justice for reasons unrelated to the evidence. See that? The injustice allegedly perpetrated by Bello's tainted judgment could not be redressed on appeal because the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, refused to file an appeal despite pressure from relatives of the victims of extrajudicial killings. You see that? Abubakar Malami are not that jihadist as Attorney General of the Federation. That is the problem you have in Nigeria. Islamic jihadists everywhere. Islamic jihadists everywhere. They are there fighting. So, has refused to issue a fiat. It says Abubakar Malami recently recommended Bello for nomination for ICC job. You see, so that Abubakar Malami, who refused to file an appeal on this case, is the same person that recommended that Bello to ICC job. Has refused to issue a fiat to a private prosecutor to appeal the judgment. You see that? They refuse justice. These are people, they will destroy the justice system. That's what they're doing. The justice system they want is Islamic Sharia law. That's what they want to bring and impose on the whole place. And you will water down to, like poverty and all kinds of rubbish that's going on in their society. That's what you bring into your society with that. Bello, the senior police officer, and Abubakar Malami are from the same part of Nigeria and share similar background. See that now? Yeah. Early this year, Bello played a key role in recommending unqualified lawyers to be appointed as judges of courts where he presided as chief judge. Unqualified lawyers. In 2018, a senator, member of Nigeria's upper legislative chamber, the Senate, led armed thugs to invade the chambers of the Senate, from where he stole the mace, the legislative symbol of authority. Following civil society pressure for the senator to be prosecuted, Bello, sitting as judge, issued an ordering order barring police and other security agencies from arresting the senator for interrogation. Okay, you are one Nigerianist. This is what you want. Somebody violates the law because he's a northerner, because he's Islamic northerner. He cannot be prosecuted. When they're arrested, you bring his jihadist Islamic northerner, he comes and sets him free. And then even the innocent, they pronounce them guilty and say, well, there's judgment. That ruling is against long established precedent that courts have no power to stop law enforcement agencies from carrying out their constitutional duties. Worse still, Bello issued the order without giving the law enforcement agencies an opportunity to be heard. The process that led to Bello's nomination is shrouded in secrecy. It smacks of cronyism, a trait that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari has become notorious for. This is Buhari that is telling you about let people who are qualified be there and so on and so on. But his administration is noted for chronic cronyism. He's notorious for cronyism, for favoritism, for nepotism. Notorious. Applications were not invited from suitable candidates. Civil society organizations were shut out. No interview was conducted. Nigeria should not be allowed to infect the world with her cronyism. See that? And this is cronyism that is promoted by the Islamic Northerners. Islamic Northerners. Accused agency of recruiting. We talked about Northern, and this is another Islamic Northerner, Mr. Yusuf Bichi, who took 535 Northerners and only 93 Southerners into the Department of State Services against 148. Because I think they said it was supposed to be 4 from each state. Can you imagine that? And remember that the state creation was arbitrary because it was created by the Islamic Northerners who were running the military then, and they gave themselves more constituencies, political constituencies, so that they can produce more people into the National Assembly. That's why the National Assembly is unbalanced. And that's why people say, oh, raise this point, take it to National Assembly. Which National Assembly? National Assembly that is so skewed against everybody else. So there is no way you can get anything across. It's it's impossible for you to get. They will vote down everything. This is where 148 people are supposed to be taken in DSS, 4 from each of the 36 states. But this man, Bichi, went and took 535 Northerners and only 93 Southerners, the Department of State Security. So you see, they equip their own, they fill the whole security arm with their own people. And why are they doing it? They're using it, they're going to use it to conquer the rest of the country. That's the idea. That's why we say it is jihad going on. So don't blame us when we say we have facts to back it up. We're not just talking from thin air. It's facts. There is Sanusi in October 14, a couple of days ago, which is on Wednesday. Mohammed Sanusi, who was the former governor of Central Bank, said that debating ethnic composition of political seats is a misplaced priority. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine? This is a man that sat and sort of supervised the slaughter of Akaloka, an Igbo man in Kano many years back. And here he's telling you that composition of political seats, ethnic composition of political seats is a misplaced priority, even though there is federal character and quota system enshrined in the Constitution. So he's saying that, okay, let's flout this one Constitution, even though the Constitution is like rag because it's forged. But wherever it has been the practice and embedded in the so-called Constitution, he can't even keep that Constitution because they're in a hurry to conquer the rest of the place and hand them over to the rest of to the Islamic world as part of the Islamic world. And I guess they're getting pressure from other parts of the Islamic world and asking them, what are you waiting for? Hurry up. This is why Igbo people themselves have suffered in terms of quota system. Because as soon as the quota system came out, because what was the federal character principle and quota system enshrined in the Nigerian Constitution for? To ensure that everybody is sort of represented, isn't it? But this is a principle which the Islamic North had abused from 1960 till today. So to the extent that I said, when I'm talking about Igbo people, for those who don't understand that we've been pushed out of Nigerian government entirely, and this is all the machinations of the Islamic North, with those who hate the Igbo too, there are others who hate us unjustly. We thank God for these days and internet, because anything you do to be exposed to the world, it will be put there very much exposed. I can't be happier. Now, a lot of things are done during the Civil War, atrocities. Today, we can play them on YouTube. We can see them. You see, if you are told those who are doing that in 1967 that these things will be seen, they won't believe it. Very soon, you see the slaughter that goes up and on. Not only were they recorded by foreign, neutral, and independent observers, and even the press, there might be cameras that recorded certain things in film, not just in writing, not just in print. And these things are coming out gradually, so that nobody will say, oh no, this is not the truth. Any of those lies will not work. And then when people are fighting for their rights and for their lives, you have somebody, a human being, who have seen the evil that these people are going through, who knows the evil are going through. He cannot help them. He cannot do anything to help them. But he's telling them not to fight, that they're doing the wrong thing. But he's not telling the people who are oppressing them about doing wrong. You wonder what kind of evil's mindset is this? It says here, I'm going to quote Peter Obi, some of our leaders here, what they have said regarding marginalization of the Igbo. Here's Peter Obi in 2008. He says, we are no longer talking about marginalization. We have lost everything in Nigeria. And Igbo have lost everything. This is Peter Obi, the state governor, at Igbo Day celebration at Opera Square in Enugu on Monday of September 29, 2008. Masop interrupted the program at the assembly chanting, "We want Biafra." This was in Daily Independent News of Tuesday, September 30, 2008. Then another quote. Deputy Minority Leader of the House, Prince Chukwuka Onyema, said that history has shown that the Southeast Zone, comprising Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, and Imo states, are marginalized and shortchanged in recruitment for employment by federal government ministries, agencies, and departments, including recruitment into law enforcement outfits, admission into educational institutions, appointments, and promotions in federal government offices. This is on Vanguard News of Tuesday, July 21, 2015. And this is the Deputy Minority Leader of the House, Prince Chukwuka Onyema, that is telling you, and the former governor, Peter Obi. So you don't say this is Biafran propaganda. You know, that's why we give you this quote. And you can cross-check them. They're there. So cross-check them. You don't have any excuse for pretending that you don't know exactly what is going on. I have another quote here. It says, quote, if we look at the way the Igbo are treated in this country, you will agree that it is very unfair. There are people in government that are removed and replaced with Hausa people. See that? There are people in government that are removed and replaced with Hausa people. I wonder what those advising the president wants for this nation. You cannot beat a child and expect that child not to cry. From what I see, because APC gathered to win government, they didn't gather to know how to govern. The country is drifting economically and politically, and only God will save us. This is Roland Owie, former chief whip of the Senate, 1979 to 1983, in Vanguard News of Tuesday, May 2nd, 2017. Owie is not Igbo, so that you don't say this is an Igbo campaign, you know. So he's telling you what the Igbo people are going through. Let me read it again for those who are deaf. If we look at the way the Igbo are treated in this country, you will agree that it is very unfair. There are people in government that are removed and replaced with Hausa people. There are people in government that are removed and replaced with Hausa people. There are people in government that are removed and replaced with Hausa people. I wonder what those advising the president want for this nation. You cannot beat a child and expect that a child not to cry. From what I see, because APC gathered to win government, they didn't gather to know how to govern. The country is drifting economically and politically, and only God will save us. And this was a statement in 2007, 2 years ago, by Roland Owie, former chief whip of the Senate, 1979 to 1983, in Vanguard News of Tuesday, May 2nd, 2017. My sister Oziomeme, I don't know if she's there, to give us a little bit of a commentary before we will call it a day. Last remarks from the panelists. We have no, Sister Gilman, I can't be connected to him. I want Chuksi Kidigwe to give us closing remarks. Sister Oziomeme, if she's there.
Good afternoon,
Okay.
everyone.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mazod. Should I go on or let you
Go ahead. Go.
Okay. Thank you, Odi, for making this program such a wonderful event. I mean, the information and the education is very, very optimal at this point. I mean, this is what we've been saying for months and years since this radio station is established, is to impact good information, very important information, to educate and to remove the colonialism in the heads of our fellow Biafrans and Nigerians. I'm glad that is making some dent. We still have a long way to go, but I'm glad so far what we have achieved. The NSAS protest that's going on is a start. It's like one step forward, and we must not lose track of the end result we want. NSAS is a symptom. We need to get to the root cause of it and uproot it and throw it out. And that will be the bottom line of what the goal is. So, and for the fact that the Nigerian, the Eastern region and the Igbos have been marginalized way long time ago, you can't dispute it. We thank God for information age. Everything, the Bible says that everything you do will be out in the open. And that's what's going on right now, which is a blessing for us. So people can't say, oh, you're making it up, you're lying or whatever. It's right there in your face. But we need to step on it and move forward and go and do what is best for us and our generations to come. SARS is the beginning, it's a stepping stool. We need to keep stepping until we get to our final destination. And at this point, I'm going to say thank you very much for all the wonderful panelists and for all the information and the education you guys have given. I thank you, Mazi Anemene, for being the super engineer at the radio station studio. Odemoil, thank you for your vast knowledge of what's going on and your research capabilities. Oh my God, thank you. Chuks Ikedigwe, our anchor on the ground. Thank you so much for all the wonderful work you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Ejiofor, I really appreciate you for the wisdom you bring to the panelists. Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed weekend.
Thank you so much. Thank
Bye-bye.
you, my dear sisters. You have been wonderful for the love of God and for your love of your people. This sacrifice to hold this broadcast station has been done by people like you, and it's something that is very much well appreciated. Thank you. Chuksi Kedigwe, after you, I will come to Jofochi. I wanted to give us your closing remarks, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, our esteemed listeners. Thank you, the panelists and every other person. This is a new beginning. Yeah, this is a new beginning, and it's not going to end without an accomplishment. Eyes are opening, mouths are talking, everything is falling in place. This is what we told them from the beginning, that they will come when they will be asking us and begging Biafrans to go. It's a beginning. When we started, we were called all kinds of names. It was as if we were the prodigal son who will never come back, okay? We were rejected. Every kind of thing was said against us. The Southwest was against us. The Northeast, everybody was against. Even some of us were against us. But as we went on preaching the gospel, I remember as far back as 2013, I was already sharing flyers, going to a computer village to talk about Biafra because I was passionate about it. I'm going to tell you one thing, that when I was born, as in growing up, I could tell from no reason that Nigeria no belong me. I could tell that Nigeria doesn't belong me. I could tell, just like to borrow the words of the Sierra Leoneans, that Nigeria no belong me. I could tell it. As I grew older, I began to patch up, as in discover what was the issue. And then when I came across of Biafra, I knew that, okay, this is who I am. And so when the opportunity to leaflet and talk about Biafra came in 2013, I didn't play with it. By then, it was a very high risk thing for people to do in this part of the world. But we defy all logic. We went to computer village. Practically, we went to all the markets in Lagos, sharing flyers, telling people about the coming Biafra. As of then, we made so much promises that we believed Biafra was going to come in next day. In fact, it's a long story, but I'll cut it short. So we've always known this thing. So just back to what I'm saying. After getting this people, tell them about Biafra, we are very, very convinced now that more people are joining the train. Okay, so you can see the works that we did in 2013 is reaping fruit now. Okay, because we spoke to a lot of people here. We spoke to a lot of people. One of these, I'm going to have an article. I've written articles about it. But one of them is going to be a book about these experiences. Okay, so as time went on, you discovered that even the Yorubas started going into the same thing that we told them about, that they said it was practically impossible. They say it will never happen. Our Southwest brothers are now coming out publicly to claim Oduduwa Republic. I knew when those days we went to Computer Village, that Yorubas, they will meet them too, we talk to them too. Their experience, we have a lot of experiences for them, just like our people too. So I'm not surprised today that they also can come up proudly and say, this is who they are Oduduwas, and they are fighting for it. Every other person is waking up to that reality. These are some of the hard work that we did 7 years back. It's reaping fruit now. It's growing. And then even when during that time we're in the market talking to people, talking to Nigerian youth who insulted, we told them the days like this is going to come, where Nigerian youth who are called the lazy ones, who nobody saw that they will ever rise up. We told them that one day they are going to come up and they will demand for their rights. I'm practically sure that those are things that are happening today. We predicted them. We saw them, not even predicted. We saw it's going to happen. And the same way is what I'm telling you today, that very soon Biafra is going to come. Okay? The effort to put in there, we are still seeing the multiple effect of what he's doing now. And it continues to grow. 1 tells 1, 1 tells 2, 2 tells 4, 4 tells 8. And it can keep spreading. Those are what is happening. And believe you me, since it has started, it's not easy to end information which time has come, okay? A project which time has come, it can't end it like that. So we must all know that Biafra is coming. To us now, it might look as if nothing is happening. Yeah, because that is what RBN was created to do. RBN was created to walk on the ground without making noise. A lot of people will say, these people are not doing anything. They only talk. Yes, we know what we are doing. We are gradually taking it a step, one step at a time. Walking, we were not those that will come and tell you we went to this, we went to that, we met we were in EU, we were in UN. Even if you go to UN, we won't come to tell you. We've written to president, we've written to prime ministers, we won't come and tell you. Because even writing to this, we have to guarantee them, we have to assure them that the correspondences you are writing with them is confidential. You are not going to spread it to everything. So people must understand that we are not going to make noise like others, but we are assuring you that those efforts I've put in ground for so many years, is reaping the fruit, is maturing, and people are beginning to see it. That is the same thing is going to happen with the Biafran struggle. A day will come when you will wake up and you wonder, who should be able to do this? And then we'll remind you that so many years, PRM, RBI was working on the ground, lecturing people, bringing informations that are second to none. And you were among those who were laughing at us, saying we were doing anything. So people must understand that it's not that empty. We are not that empty vessel that makes a lot of noise. No, we are not. We are that few vessel that the Lord is using, and who is keeping it cool, who is not mouthful on noise making. We've taken a lot of more. So we are very convinced that those efforts that we're putting there, if it's working to Nigerians right now, it's going to spread down to Biafra, and believe us, Biafra is going to come. It's going to be a surprise, but it's going to come. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. I remain blessed. See you next time.
Thank you so much, Chuksi Kedigwe. Like I always say, what can we do without you? Thank you for your support. I want to get closing remarks from Ejiofor Ochinanwata.
Yeah, thank you so much, my dear brother and indefatigable Odimoralo. You are a man whose time has actually come. Thank you so much, Nevena, and the co-panelists, Chooks, my dear sister, Adama. thank everyone, and I believe that the dam has been broken. As we said earlier, I believe that this is the time, the Ohanezes, this is the time, the Middle Belt Forum, the PANDEF, and then the Oduduwa Republic. This is the time the so-called, the moral majority of Nigeria should rise up at this moment and seize that moment and decide and declare the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria dead. As simple as that. Because in the Bible, you see that now, on what if the time, or what if the koge, if you either you cut it off or it will fall on its own. Our people have to learn to read and understand the time. This moment is a season that must be taken either by force or seized by circumstances and declare Nigerian Constitution null and void. That is the beginning. We have said it in this forum over and over. Power is taken, power is not given. Freedom is taken, freedom is not given. Sugar no sugar, and they will not throw it up. They are not going to vomit it. You have to snatch the bag of sugar out of their mouth. Now, Fulani has settled in Nigeria because of the complacency and the way Nigerians do things, the tribalism and the, what am I going to call it? The hatred of Biafrans. They have allowed the Fulani even to call the rest of Fulanis all over Africa to come and say, oh, we have a dead elephant. Anna Dagoleva, come and cut your own share. Come and get your own. Because of the docility of our people, we have actually absconded our responsibility and left these people to take our land. And now it's time that Hasina Chicken has come home to the roots. The Nigerian youths, I salute you. The Nigerian youths, I take my hats off for you. I'm Naka Chukwudia because you know why? The voodoo, the veil have been lifted off your eyes. What Biafrans have been crying over and over and over since 1967. Everybody now is aware of what's going on and what needed to be done. It is not over until it is over. It's not just ending SARS, man. SARS is a symptom. It is not the solution. It's not the problem alone. If you want to kill a snake, you don't cut the tail. If you want to kill a snake, you cut the head. The head of the snake is the Nigerian Constitution and the Fulani leadership in Nigeria. Cut it off, and you can free yourself once and for all. Thank you again, my brother Odimoralo. God will shatter and continue to overtake you and your family and keep you safe for Biafrans. You are doing a good job. Thank you so much, my brother.
Thank you so much, Honorable Ejiofor What a man of great intellect. You know, God has blessed us greatly. We thank God for that. We thank God for a man like this. And we cannot begin to talk about all he does for this broadcast to be on here, but it's completely immense. And you have heard him. When you heard him, you've seen his in-depth of knowledge and intellectual sagacity and ability. And these are experience. We gain wealth in life based on our experiences a lot, the wealth of knowledge, I mean. And we salute him for, you know, committing his resources, his knowledge towards the freedom of his people. This is God's work. That's what it is, to free the oppressed, to fight for those who are oppressed. And he gave us that injunction in Psalm 82. And you can get in there and you will see it. It's right there in Psalm 82. So we should do so, because if we're not, then we're encouraging those who are perpetrating evil to continue doing so. We are here because we don't know what else to do other than to at least speak out and then do other things in the background regarding the oppression of others. And we enjoin you wherever you are. You're a lover of freedom. You want to be free. To join in the struggle. You don't necessarily need to be a Biafran, but fight what is evil. Because if you don't fight evil, let me tell you what will happen. It will grow. It will grow. This one that we have in Nigeria now is the way it is because you left it to grow. You were ignorant, or probably you were assailed by other forces of darkness, jealousy, envy, something else. These things attack us in life. But we have to fight them because they are evil. They will never produce something good for us. So, like Mazi Jofosinama said, we salute the youths of Nigeria that is going on. Remember to continue to be dogged with your demands. Extend them to your freedom. You want it to be free. If we don't, if we band together, the reason why we need people, like you can see people came out in mass now to demonstrate, and you've seen it's gone global. It's gone global. That is why every contribution is not just sit down on the sofa and criticize people who are doing something. What are you doing yourself? Don't sit on the sofa and just criticize. Come out and do, because let me tell you the truth. If everybody comes out and they continue and sustain this, and more people now join, we want our mothers, our fathers, everybody together, that country will have to be changed. Like we said, the constitution, they will abolish it. They will have no other of them because they cannot slaughter everybody. They will see the number of people, they will be intimidated themselves. And it's our relatives that are in this police and so on and so forth as well. You must do things to show that you resist. Like Mazi Jofosinama said, freedom is taken, it's not given. It's not given. Because the person who's holding your freedom is enjoying holding it, is benefiting him. So it's due for you to do something about taking it. And I always say, pray. Because your prayer is doing wonders. Like he rightly said, we can see what is going on. Prayer is the key. Prayer is the key. Don't let nobody deceive you that prayer doesn't work. You will be finished if you ever think that. I'm sorry for anybody who thinks that. That is why you must depart from your iniquities and unrighteousness and stand with prayer. Stop going to Odeshi. Stop going to Babalawo. Those things will not get you anywhere. They are devil that you are consulting. Let me give you something you don't know. And they will tell you things that sound good to your ears, but you're consulting the devil. Rather, go to the scriptures. Go and study the Bible. That simple, God made it so easy for everybody. That makes you love God even more. It makes you love God beyond what you can really express. That simply you being sincere and praying and talking to him. You want to kneel, you want to lie, just talking to him from your heart in prayer that he will hear you. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? God that created the universe. And watch and see what he's going to do to those who oppress you. You will see things happening that you never will expect that will happen. Remember to pray. This is Radio Biafra International. My name is Odi Moalo. And I also salute, most importantly, the man who has been in the anchor of this radio station, Mazi Leo Aliamana. Like I always call him, he's a technocrat, an outstanding technocrat in communication and information technology. Very well educated. And he is making this possible. He is going through even battles that we who don't have the technical knowledge, I don't know how he does it. But he does it. Because of that, I know that there are battles going on in information. You had Nigerian government saying they're voting millions of naira to fight radio waves and all the rest of them that are going on in Nigeria. Because they don't want the truth to be spoken. That is why they want fighting. They want to just calm down on the truth, and that's it. But once that truth is out and you speak it, that is it. It does something in the air. That's when you say Buhari must go, SARS must end. This, as long as you're speaking it out, do that and you see that there are forces in the air. And that you have power in your voice. In your own voice, that there is power in that. God has given you, just use it positively. Use your life positively. Give it to God and use it positively so that God will bless you. But if you don't and you keep cheating and going to Babalawa and taking Odeshi and all this and everything is criminality and manipulation, with people in your family, with your friends, with all. I'm telling you, you will see that place get conquered. You'll be a Muslim, fourth-class Muslim. That's what you will become. Because God will abandon all of us. And let's see how much smart you get with that issue. So please, stand tall and stand strong. This is Odi Mohalo saying goodbye from Radio Biafra International for now. God bless you.
DJ Adamasa 2020. I think champion who back on when on all of them before you became with you. Because when the state say wherever the coronavirus money will come out, it's over the same analysis now. What can you just say? You want to know before you became with you.
The more we fight together, the more we fight together, and stronger we shall be.
Rising sun, rising sun.
Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Believe it or leave it, Biafra is the only hope of Africa. We've been crying, the world cannot to hear. And we've been lamenting, the world cannot to hear. Our tears flow, the world cannot to see. And our blood flow, the world cannot to see. This is a crime, oh no, against humanity. Oh no, yeah, this is a crime. Eritrea spoke up, they were given independence. South Sudan spoke, they were given independence. Namibia spoke up, they were given independence. Give me the reason my people got to be neglected. Give me the reason my people got to be rejected. Give me the reason our freedom got to be a crime. Give me the reason our own freedom got to be denied. Hey, Biafra is the only hope of Africa. I tell you what, Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Hey, Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Believe it or leave it. Oh no. Whoa.
04, that was physical battle, and we're betrayed by the people them trust. Today heroes are fighting. This is a spiritual battle. Let us unite and give Biafra a meaning. If we don't take time, we can remain in this land. No freedom of speech, no freedom of expression, no freedom of worship, no freedom of religion. Justice denied. Oh, of my own very people. Hey. Justice denied. Hey. On the rising sun. Hey. Justice denied. Oh, my freedom fighter. Yeah. What is so bad? My people wanna be liberated. What is so bad? My people wanna be independent. What is so bad? My people wanna be alone. This is the time we will make it known to the world. Hey, Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Biafra is the only hope of Africa. I tell you what, Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Hospitality, positive, education, positive, economic, positive, hospitality. I tell you what, positive. Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Biafra is the only hope of Africans. I tell you what, Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Biafra is the only hope of Africa. My people will cry. Biafrans will cry. My people are suffering. Oh, Biafrans are
Radio Biafra is proud to launch its new mobile app. This app makes it easier for listeners to access live and repeat broadcasts at any given time. The app is available on Android and Apple stores and is free to install, so just search for Radio Biafra into all one word to get the app on your device.
Radio Biafra International broadcasts are always anchored on well-researched information and not based on personalities, frivolities, and foul languages. The main objective of Radio Biafra International is to empower Biafrans and give them knowledge through professionally delivered information, education, and enlightenment towards the ultimate goal of restoration of the nation of Biafra.
So don't forget, Radio Biafra into all one word.
And join us during our podcasts and you'll be glad you did.
Truer words were never spoken. The less you associate with some people, the more your life will improve. Anytime you tolerate mediocrity in others, it increases your mediocrity. An important attribute in successful people is their impatience with negative thinking and negative acting people. As you grow, your associates will change. Some of your friends will not want you to go on. They will want you to stay where they are. Friends that don't help you climb will want you to crawl. Your friends will stretch your vision or choke your dream. Those that don't increase you will eventually decrease you. Consider this. Never receive counsel from unproductive people. Never discuss your problems with someone incapable of contributing to the solution, because those who never succeed themselves are always first to tell you how. Not everyone has a right to speak into your life. You are certain to get the worst of the bargain when you exchange ideas with the wrong person. Don't follow anyone who's not going anywhere. With some people, you spend an evening. With others, you invest it. Be careful where you stop to inquire for directions along the road of life. Wise is the person who fortifies his life with the right friendships. If you run with wolves, you will learn how to howl. But if you associate with eagles, you will learn how to soar to great heights. A mirror reflects a man's face, but what he is really like is shown by the kind of friends he chooses. The simple but true fact of life is that you become like those with whom you closely associate, for the good and the bad. Note, be not mistaken. This is applicable to family as well as friends. Yes, do love, appreciate, and be thankful for your family, for they will always be your family, no matter what. Just know that they are human first, and though they are family to you, they may be a friend to someone else and will fit somewhere in the criteria above. In prosperity, our friends know us. In adversity, we know our friends. Never make someone a priority when you are only an option for them. If you are going to achieve excellence in big things, you develop the habit in little matters. Excellence is not an exception. It is a prevailing attitude.
Radio Biafra International, empowering the people.